Hello, hello, hello.
Yo,
Nathan, what's going on, man? MJ, hope you're doing well.
Hey,
it's cooking, gentlemen.
Kyle, let's go.
hey, it's going. It's going. Gotta turn off my heater here. It's kind of loud. Cold in my basement, man. We got the AC on.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Adam,
Add on.
What's
Jeez.
up? I'm
back from
back.
Thought
Toronto,
you
man.
died, bro.
No, I'm still alive. I'm still here. Just been busting my ass on a film set for the past 6 days.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how's that been?
Eh,
Just
it
getting it.
it was cool. I was locations manager for a Marine Corps commercial filmed at Camp Lejeune here in North Carolina. Um, Great money, very physically exhausting. Um, it just further supported my desire to just grow an agency and never have to work on a film set ever again. But overall, it was a great experience. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's good money until you get home and your entire body's aching and it takes you like 2, 3 days to recover. And you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna do this until I'm 70 years old for sure.
No, it was gnarly, dude. I had no days less than 13 hours. Most days were 14, 15-hour days. Um,
Jeez.
Lots of physical movement. But got to meet some really cool people. The director and AD were from France and they were super talented. Um, Super stoked. Good time for sure. But I felt bad leaving Tony hanging for a whole week. He was kind of struggling.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's all
we've
right.
been at the office all day, so we're back together. It feels good.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Um, cool, man. Well, you'll I'm sure Tony's gonna hop in here in a bit and we'll kind of see what you guys are doing. And you guys have been up to a
Yeah.
lot in terms of your agency.
Yeah.
Um, Guys, Mason's got to get rock and rolling here at 7:30. He's got another call with one of his clients, and then he's going to try to swing back here later, maybe 7:45, 8. But in the event that he cannot, I thought we'd go and just do all Mason questions. So I guess like, does anybody in here have a go high level question or an automation question? For example, Daniel, I think you may have said something about okay, no, you didn't. I think it was somebody else that said something
I
about
think
some.
Jorge, but I don't think he was coming in until after 7:30. Or well,
Okay.
that's when he was said he was gonna come in terms of like when his question was, I think.
Okay. MJ, do you have any go high level or Mason questions, automations, anything like that?
No, not so far.
Kyle?
I did actually struggle with one thing the other day. It's not that important. Like I was basically when I was doing onboarding, I tried editing one of the funnels, uh, and then I tried sending it to him, and for some reason it kept like it's like it didn't save the changes I made to it. It would just send.
I already know the issue.
You know the
So,
issue?
yep. So when you're editing, like inside of Go High Level, there's a save button and there's a
Mhm.
publish button. When you save it, basically it's basically like a mock-up website. So you're basically just saving the changes, but none of them are permanent. Now, when you hit publish, that means the domain that you have selected is going to be the thing that's going to basically be published. So when you do send them the link, that it's
Yeah.
actually the most active version. So go back to that page, hit publish, send me the link, and then I'll send you a screenshot of what it looks like, and then tell me if I was right or wrong.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Here, let me open it up and see if that actually works. Because I thought that I saved it and I published it. I thought I did anyway.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay. So here. Okay. So is this the one? Okay. Yeah. I think this was it. Okay. Should I share my screen maybe here?
Um, yep, you should be able to share now.
Okay. I got a million tabs open. So okay, we'll share this. Okay. Can you see this here?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So this is so I made him this little thing. I wanted him to answer these questions here. So I
Hmm.
thought, hey, send him the link or whatever. So if I publish this is what you're talking about here.
Hmm.
Okay, so publish this. And then if I go back, looks like it worked. Publish.
Of course, it doesn't want to load now, right?
Yeah, what the heck? Just dead.
I'll go ahead and just try to refresh.
Yeah, we'll stop that and refresh it.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So I have this. I changed the URL up here to onboarding Brody.
Okay.
So I give you this. Now what should I just put in the chat?
Sure.
Is Brody the guy's name?
Yeah, Brody's the guy's
Oh.
name.
Is there a reason why you create one specifically for him?
Well, actually, I was just kind of testing it. I just wanted to see if it was easy just to like, and I guess the question was kind of designed for him because I think there's one question in there that's going to be a little bit different than what's
Gotcha.
the plan. Just because it's what we're doing with him, I probably won't do with other people here. Oops. Where is my
Makes
Zoom?
sense.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find my Zoom here. I got so much stuff open.
You can throw it in Slack if you need to.
Okay, let's do that. Okay. General communication. Let's just do that. So there's the. What happens if I open this? Like, seems to work here.
It's working for me.
So it goes right there. Okay, maybe that was it. Maybe I just didn't publish it like you said.
Cool.
I feel like when I answer like the go high level questions,
It's-
I think I should put like glasses on.
Yeah. That's all I got, man. Sorry, I wish there was more.
No, it's good. It's a good problem to have, just having one.
Not that sure.
Dan, do you have a question for Mason?
I think Cam jumped in as well.
No, I haven't done much as far as technical stuff yet.
Cool.
Okay.
Just
Cam,
weekend. Thank you.
Cam, I gotta get going at like 7:30 to jump on another sales call. I was just wondering if you had any go high level questions before I do get going.
Let me check my notes here.
Okay.
Share screen. No, nothing technical per se.
I have one for you, Mason.
Okay. I'm ready.
So I'm building some sequences for our Pet Evolution client, the guy that has 10 or so locations, the franchise. Just building some longer follow-up automations for the
Mhm.
leads.
Mhm.
I'm just curious to know if you have any, is there like a secret formula? Is there a secret, or like what would you recommend as far as a follow-up sequence? Like I've just kind of built it out randomly. I think I did like a 2-day follow-up, a 3-day follow-up, and then a 30-day follow-up. Is there anything that you would recommend?
So this is generally what I do.
Uh,
And this is going to be my really shitty drawing, but this is like a pipeline, right? So you have your opt-in. You have like your follow-up 1, follow-up 2, let's just say discovery call, let's just say like sales call, right? We have all these different things, right? So I guess let me ask you this first. Are you talking specifically about the people that are opting into an ad?
yes.
Okay. So basically what I do is when they opt in, I put them here, right? And they follow up. So if I send them a message, etc., blah, blah, right? If they don't respond, I don't book anything with them, right?
Okay.
So I'll just get rid of discovery call. If I don't book anything along the lines with them, right? I'll move them into follow-up 1.
Yeah.
And the next day I manually hit them because you can manually hit people as long as they come in your ecosystem fairly early. That's what I generally do. And I do that twice, right? After I follow up twice, 2 to 3 times, sometimes even like 3 to 4, and I'm not getting response out of them, they're a cold lead, right? Then what I do is I build a different pipeline instead of go high level. Okay.
Sure.
You don't have to be super complex with it, but I'm just showing you what I do. Okay. So I have cold lead nurture. Then I have warm lead nurture. Okay. So after they go into, so I'll just do like a little micro version. After in follow-up 2, and I don't hear anything from them, right? I'll go and confirm. I'll make sure that like if you have an appointment set or blah blah blah, like okay, nothing's happened. Tony didn't talk to him. Okay, cool. I can confirm that this person's a cold lead. Then basically I have an entire pipeline built out for these people. Right? So this could be like your month 1, month 2, month 3. And then basically you have an automation where it's just like there's no secret formula per se, but it's like email like once a week. That's basically what I do. And then basically you can build it out as long as you want to. And then as long as there's like a response to the email, then I'll move them into the warm lead pipeline. Then okay, this guy is actually this guy is like a cold lead at first. Now he's opening up my emails. He's not necessarily taking me up on my offers. Now I'll know like, okay, maybe I'll call this guy.
Sure.
Right? Because obviously, like when you're down here in the micro, it's like he wasn't answering your phone calls. But now you can ring him again. And the chances of him booking a call are a lot higher. But basically, there's no real secret. It's kind of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what works.
For email, is that a text message as well, or just an email once?
Just email.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if you text message someone 3 times, they don't respond, they're ignoring you on purpose at that point.
Yeah.
Like they don't want the offer, like something happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
That's
Super
basically
helpful.
it.
Sweet. Thanks a lot, man. That answers my question.
When you get into like the more technical stuff, which like you guys don't need to yet, like don't do it, but I just want to give you like practical advice, is you can have triggers for when like this email opens, it will send them automatically here.
Okay.
Or you can categorize them when they perform a certain action, it will move them for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for example, instead of doing 2 separate pipelines, you could have one. And it's just long form nurture. And that can be your pipeline. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you could have like cold here. Like, or like unresponsive here, cold here, and then like warm here. And then you can even add these like discovery call to see how many of these people that you nurtured actually end up booking a call or doing whatever the business wanted, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Because you can do this for your business as well and your clients.
Definitely.
Does that make sense on how it's set up?
It does. I guess my one question on that is if I have multiple pipelines,
Mm-hmm.
so we have like 2 pipelines for Pet Evolution right now. One's for mobile nail trim campaign and one's for an in-store campaign. So if I were to add a cold lead pipeline and a warm nurture pipeline, I guess I've just never moved people from pipeline to pipeline before. So how simple is that to just throw them into the
Super
cold
easy.
lead?
Super easy. So I can show you how to do that. Send me a message inside of Slack.
Sure.
Say how to move someone from pipeline to pipeline manually. I can show you how to do that. It's super simple.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm
And
gonna get
then
this built out tonight.
also, this is for everybody. This is for everybody. This is so for everybody. What I'm about to say. When you're running, like when you niche down, especially, like let's say, like let's just do like the pet or dog. What is it? What is it? Dog grooming?
Yeah, pet grooming, dog grooming.
Okay, so we'll just say dog grooming, right? So you said nails, right?
Yep.
And then what was another offer that you were running?
In store 20% off.
Okay, I'll just say 20%. Okay.
The nails is a mobile a mobile service, and then in stores 20% off.
Okay. So what I'm getting at here is I highly recommend you add something in your automations called add tag. Okay. The reason I'm saying you should do this is because when you eventually move someone in to like a long form nurture sequence, you want to know what the person almost bid on. Right? Because
Right.
that's going to give you advantage to sell to them later because you know what they were interested in. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
It's
I
like,
think we
okay,
do have that set up. I think you did mention that a while back. So we do
yeah,
have that in our automation where we have tags for whichever funnel or whichever sequence they're in.
perfect. So that's, I guess, just for everybody involved then, is every time you're running an offer and you're setting up an automation, there's something in there. It's called add tag. Okay. Make sure you do that. Because you can see like, oh, I've already sold this person this thing. Maybe I can upsell them into this thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that could be a huge thing for you guys in terms of like your memberships. You can mark the
Yeah.
types of people that got the membership. You can see the people that have taken the 20% offer. Right. And then you can sell it to them differently. Like, hey, what happens if you got 20% off every single day at our store?
Totally.
Introducing X membership. Is that something you'd be interested in? All right. See how I can sell that to this person? Hey, inside of our membership, we're going to come to you once a month and do mobile nails and this, and this. Does this sound interesting to you? See how I'm I'm upselling specifically, but my language is changing depending on the person, what offer they got previously before.
Got it.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Good stuff, Mason.
Hmm?
Good stuff.
Um,
Adam, did you have anything else? Any other technical questions, Mason?
I know Tony probably has a couple. I think he's on some call at the moment. The I can't think of anything at this very second.
Okay, cool. Well, if Tony hops in, great. If not, cool. We'll circle back. In terms of go high level, Mason questions. Anybody else? MJ, Cam, nothing? You guys good? Okay. Mason, you're no longer needed. You're good.
Hold on, got one more. I just remembered. One of our pet grooming clients, we have exhausted our A2P attempts. I've only done one of them. I believe Tony tried the other two at first. So I tried to get a new phone number today. So after 3 attempts to verify it, it requests a CP575 document from like the IRS. So I'll need to get our client to get that document for us. But I'm wondering if, and I can send you like a screenshot of what the notification looks like. But I'm wondering if there's another way we could get around that, or I don't know if we're in too deep to like create a new sub account for him. But it has to do with the EIN number. We're probably going to end up losing this guy by the end of the month, according to some messages that we have received and just our overall experience with him. We're totally fine with that. We don't know how hard we should fight to keep this guy, but just in terms of getting this document from the IRS and everything, do you think it's worth him doing that for us, or should we just kind of hold on with what we got, or is there another workaround that you know of?
Well, unfortunately, there's nothing else I know or work around unless you create a different sub account. The only thing that you could do to speed up the process is called creating something called a snapshot. Basically, it's basically a screenshot, let's just say, of everything inside of a Go High Level account, so you could copy it and paste it inside of a different account. So you'd have to go through everything again. But I'm not sure if Did you file? Did you put in their EIN number when you were submitting ATP verification?
We did.
Gotcha. Okay,
Our
so
last attempt we did.
gotcha. So that might be an issue in itself because they might see the EIN number and then automatically, no matter what sub account that you have, it's still going to ask for that documentation. I don't know. That's a myth. I'm not sure if that's true. Okay, so just keep that bare bones in back of mind. That being said, is it worth it? I don't know because I guess I don't know the current relationship that you have with your client right now and
Yeah.
kind of what makes you think that it would or wouldn't be worth it.
For sure.
But I mean, that would be the first question I had. And the second thing would be like, how big of a list are we talking? Because if you could get ATP to work very quickly, you could get back on his good side and then get another month in. So, I mean, do you know how big the list is by any chance?
What list do you mean?
So do you collect their like email list, their name, email, phone number list, like when you start working with them?
Yeah. Oh, I see how many leads we have in our
Disregarding leads that you've already generated them.
I couldn't tell you, man. He sent us a bunch of wacky messages today. He literally said, I'm thinking about going into the street food truck industry. Like he's just like thinking about completely switching careers. It's not looking like, I mean, we've been getting some leads from him. A lot of them have been poor quality for sure. But I don't know. Tony's been communicating a lot more with him over the past couple weeks than I have, so I don't know too much. But it's all good. I don't think this issue will happen again. I mean, I've been able to get ATP verification like next day for every one of our clients. So I've got it down on like how to properly do it. This is just kind of a mishap. So it's all good.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait for Tony and kind of just get more information. But from the sounds of it, tell him that you do some food truck marketing too.
Yeah, we could. We could.
So,
That's it, dude. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right, guys. Mason, whenever you got it, rock and roll, man. All good.
yeah, cool. I'm sticking around until 7:30, so I got an hour.
All right. So, MJ, what's going on, man? Prepping your sales call, no questions for now. Still have to get through the stuff from last week. It's been a busy week. Anything at all, MJ?
Yeah, not much. I was just I kind of just finished the 2 hour video and I was going through putting in my the niche calculator is what I was doing between work and work, I guess. So I guess the question that actually popped up to my head was, do I was just writing the name of the niche. So I know when we first spoke, I was already in mind of like I wanted to, go into the medical spa area. So I was wondering, and when I reached that question, do I put the niche that I just closed, or like am I doing that niche calculator 3 more times and putting different niches that I felt like I wanted to do, or like how does that work?
Yeah, you basically the niche calculator is for the niches that you think in your heart of hearts you want to do the most. Has
Okay.
nothing to do with the niche that you just closed. If the niche
Okay.
that you closed is something that you are interested, well, then that could be one of the 3 niches that you put in there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, just wanted to know that. Yeah, I'll get that done today, hopefully. Like last week was I don't even think I've recovered yet, so I'm still kind of absolutely spent. So yeah, I think this is my last sales call-ish, like for all the ones that were left up in the pipeline. There's someone that I booked out later to this month. I don't think it's gonna happen if I'm being honest, because that's too far away and they probably won't show. That's just my thought. But yeah, so this is with an auction house that I'm supposed to speak with. have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just getting ready anyway. So we'll see how that goes. So I was at least happy that they wanted to still have a conversation. So I get one more practice in and see if I can
Have
do even better than the last one. So yeah.
have fun with this one, and then this one, with an auction house, I don't know how advertising can. I'm sure maybe it can help them, but I'm not sure how high or how much it could truly help. So if this turns out being a situation, like have fun with it. Like sometimes I literally just experiment where somebody will say like, what's the budget? I'll just throw something random, like it's 50K just for shits and giggles. And I just want to see what people do. And that's how I learn. But so like what I'm saying is like maybe just have fun with this one. You already
Yeah.
closed official. So like have fun. If it turns into like a video thing or something else or an SEO thing, explore that. Just have fun with it. See what you can learn.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're doing pretty like I took some time to just think about like what do they actually do and what actually makes sense. I mean they're doing pretty well. I guess like they want to scale to like 30K a month. They're kind of already doing like 15, 20-ish, if I'm being honest. So it's not, at least in my head, it's not hard for them to bring in like 4 new people because, they're saying that when people find them, they're like, where have you been since all my life? And they tried paid advertising, but it wasn't giving them return on their investment. So, I mean, I have several scripts to kind of like just address that
How do
piece
they
if I
how do
have
they,
to.
how do they make money?
So right now they like help to sell or buy. So they sell people's you know stuff basically. So
Okay.
they would make a commission off of how long, like, so they charge I think 16 a day. I have my numbers on my, so they're kind of like on my screen somewhere. So I think a someone that's in with them on average, if they are going on an auction, is like 16 every day, like $16 a day is how much they're spending. Like if I was the one that was trying to use them to sell my stuff, so I'm paying them like $16 every day. And they have about 7 to 8 clients in every day that come in to use their service. And at the end of the month, they are probably like having like seven auctions a day, right? So within that, I'm sure like their commissions are there, as well as whatever deals that they may have split with the client that came in. So something around about that, I think.
What are some of those things that people sell?
Um, I didn't get exact products with them on my discovery call, but on their Facebook page, it said something around like vehicles. Sorry, no, it wasn't vehicles, tools, and let me see if I can find it actually. Give me a second.
Yeah. So this business almost is kind of like an agency if you think about it, right? An agency
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about.
agency's job is to help somebody sell something.
Help someone sell something, yeah.
Your job is to help them find those people that need things to be sold, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking that question of like, what do they sell? And so if you come to find it's like you said, vehicles, well, then you would run out and
Yeah,
say, hey,
vehicles, equipment, tools. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
so that would be the strategy. It's like, hey, if you're somebody that sells cars and you flip them and you're looking for a place and you hate, Facebook Marketplace and all the scams and this and that, and you're looking for a verified way, here's what we do. We sell this, and here's how many clients we have for a very affordable price. We get you set up and take care of all the XYZ issues, pain point. If that's something interesting to you, click the button below, book a call. That's it. And you find all these different people, connect them with the
Exactly. And a fun idea I had is like letting them know somewhere along the conversation that essentially you can also do this for your clients,
running
right?
ads.
Like running ads for them, advertising wise, because that's essentially what you're doing. If you're doing it more traditionally, where you're making posters and you're still having to bring people in traditional wise, and you're not running any ads for them. So it could be a different option, a different service, because maybe like you can get results for them quicker. Maybe like the offer is somewhere around, I don't know how long, because my mind is like, I do want to still ask some more questions during our sales call so I could see where this idea lands. So on average, like how long does it take before you get as many people buying through, your Facebook group, for example, because that's kind of like where they are running it right now, right? they kind of switched to online. They said, because of COVID, they used to have it in person, but now it's online. So how many people actually like, come in and find that? Because there could be an offer where if it typically takes on average to find those people that are in the auction, I don't know, maybe 1 month or something like that. With paid ads with your clients, you could probably find the right people in like a week, or shorten that time in like half or whatever, right? So that could be an extra package within what you do. So
that there's an offer there. There's a way you can play that. So there's two angles. One angle is, hey, I'll teach you how to run the ad so you can do it for yourself, for your clients, or hey, look, I can come in and be part of your team and I can run the ads for each of your individual clients. So one, I can help you bring these people on, and then two, I can help you help them. And then I can, basically we can kind of work something out in terms of a deal there. So there's opportunity. It sounds like there's opportunity there.
yeah, there is.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, just have fun with it though. Of course. Just have
Yeah,
fun.
I will.
Um,
Absolutely.
Anything else that you feel like I guess so most important question I could probably ask you at this point is just like, what are the top 3 niches that you have in your mind right now? After watching, that content, after watching my, scale to 7 figures video, after watching the niche video and everything that you've watched so far, where's your mind at right now in terms of what niche you want to go into and why?
Yeah, I think at least for one, the medical spa was the first one. Mostly because when you pointed it out to me, like during like the whole nurture process that we had initially, it clicked in my mind that that made sense in terms of the least friction way to get in, because with the relationship I have with this person and more around the opportunities that are also around them that I could also get into the door to other people that are there, it just felt like a no-brainer for sure. And funny enough, this deal that for the second one, this deal that I closed with this person also does sound like a really good one in my head, as it relates to just like sound and live production and stuff. I think it's a good, just in my mind, it's a high ticket industry to begin with, right? Like on average, someone is probably spending at least like 2,500 for sound stuff, and at least the way that they're running their model is per numbers, right? So if it's a certain amount of people, to maybe if it's like 50 to 100 people, it's more expensive. So they are scaling their equipments as they go, and the ability to have add-ons, because they were just making mention of other things that, in addition to the sound, lighting, the LED walls and stuff like that. So I think it's a great I think it's a great industry in terms of like the high ticket nature of it. And I don't think there are probably a lot of people around here that could be doing something like that in terms of like, like, and there are people that are doing live sound, but marketing that way. I wanted to spend time to find Facebook ads around my area if there are anyone that's doing that. That's number 2. But I haven't thought about a third one yet. But those two, kind of seem interesting to me in that sense.
With the first one, obviously we've got the medical spa stuff, and Aman and I are talking about making some pivots actually. He's got some e-commerce stuff that we're looking into right now. And so things could open up in terms of medical spas actually. And we've already done a lot of the footwork, me and him and Terrell and a few of the other guys that have already tackled medical spa, so we can just kind of hand you a lot of stuff on a silver platter. So you can't fail with that essentially. Like there's no way to lose with that. That's the good news. When it comes to the second one, I like the fact that it's potentially high. I would need to learn more about it, like kind of like how I just like went down the rabbit hole with like the auction stuff, and I'm learning more about that situation. So I need to go more in that rabbit hole to see if there's an opportunity there to sell to consumers. My concern is just like, what about the number of business owners in that niche? That's my question. That's the main thing, in my opinion. If you have a lot of people, because that's the main thing, is you need to be able to run ads to get your calendar booked at a relatively cheap. So that's my concern.
Absolutely. Yeah, those would be the 2 aspects for both, like both the auction house and the live production as well, right? The number of people doing them. Yeah, because that was the first thing that I thought about, because both of them seem interesting to me, in the sense that you can also flip it around and also help them be an agency for their clients as well, which is an interesting prospect that I was literally thinking through all day today, and I had it and I put it into my presentation because I'm like, oh, that's unique. That could be a conversation. And then the other in terms of like the live production, because of people are always going to have events anyways, right? So ability to, keep booking events, during the summer, weddings, corporate jobs, and different aspects there is great. It's not really like one that would struggle in terms of, running out, but the number of businesses that are doing that, maybe not so much, right? So those two totally valuable, like valid in my head as to like, yeah, that's what I'm not sure of, and I haven't like done any research yet to see.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's and one of the parts of the research is obviously total available market. So just it's very simple Google search, and so you'll put that in a calculator. So how many business owners in Canada, United States, New Zealand, big five countries, and so you'll plug that number in. That number will tell us, give you an idea. Um, but okay. Anything else that's brewing your mind, MJ? Questions, comments, thoughts, anything at all?
I mean, none so far. Like once once I'm done with this call, if we're still on, I'll probably be back. Other than that, I'm just like knackered as heck. I am absolutely spent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just like I will slump on my bed and snore the heck out of my life. Oh my
Is it
gosh.
is it because you've been like doing double time in terms of like watching material, doing the calls, and balancing the 9 to 5? Is that what it is?
Yeah, like I think on Friday, I just had like a packed Friday because it was like Mother's Day, yeah, on Sunday, right? So all through the weekend, like after I had first of all watched the Loom video, like or at least on Thursday or so, like I had watched that. I had a whole Friday, Saturday, Sunday packed between like leading worship at church. So I had a rehearsal on Friday that I had to do. And then on Saturday, I had like church operation meetings like back to back that I had to do with, the pastor and whatnot. So I had those in the morning. And then I had to also get on a call to figure out what we were going to do for the other YouTube channel that I run because we were approaching the end of the month. So we have to shoot. So I needed to do that as well. And then there was a men's outing for the young adults that I had to organize. So I had to go do that. So that was like my entire Saturday pretty much. And on Sunday, I had to cover for my brother because he had to go out of town to take photos for an event. And then I also had to minister for the Sunday that I was preparing for on Friday. And then I jump on another like standardization meeting with the youth church later in the evening with the person that I work with personally. And then I went to bed like I don't know, like 12 or whatever. And then of course Monday work is all over again, and it was kind of like a busy day today. So I was just jumping back and forth, and then I was spending some of my off time to make sure I got through the 2 hour material, and then rewatching your video and then starting the quiz so I can, make sure I got that in. And then also prep for the sales call too for this evening. So it's kind of like cascading there. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling that a little bit. So
Fuck, I'm just
yeah.
waiting for the next thing. And then I have this, and then I have that. And
Yeah,
then
exactly. It's like this and this and that. And then tomorrow I'm supposed to onboard, if I do, but I'm supposed to onboard the person I close. And so I think I'm done with the document I was supposed to make. I'm not sure, honestly. I'm like half asleep, half awake, looking at it, being sure, like, okay, is everything in there? Because I think I left your video for the business assets. Because I'm like, I I think it's better I leave that because it's probably easier for them to be able to know what to do with it. I just have to make it clear to them that this is my email address that they need to put in there, and maybe just kind of like sort that out so they know exactly what that is. But yeah, I've just kind of Frankensteined what you had and for the two links, and now I kind of have to like demo it for myself and like talk through it for myself, make sure I'm not having any weird stuff in there that shouldn't be there. And yeah, hopefully that goes okay. And that's Tuesday, so hopefully by Wednesday I shouldn't have like anything crazy going on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a lot. I don't know what to say other than you have a lot on your plate, and why do you do this to yourself?
I
Except
don't know.
I know that everything you do, I know you're very passionate about it. And so I think that's the out of the bittersweet part, that's the sweet part. I know you really enjoy everything you do. So keep it
Yeah.
up. And hopefully, I do things are gonna get a little bit quiet, starting on Wednesday. And then down the road, I mean, with just so much that you have going on, MJ, like I thought about this when you first started. But like on a serious note, like this is stuff that you will need to, have a hard look at, you know, not right now, but you'll need to have a hard look, in months' time and really just kind of figure out what do you absolutely need to do for yourself in your future versus what can you cut out. There's like the study done talking about the most successful people or like doctors. And they said that uh, the people that are more successful tend to be more selfish in the short term and selfless in the long term, versus the people that are not successful are very selfless in the short term and then become very. So what they mean is like if they have like something bad going on at home or whatever, the person is like, no, I have to take care of my home. I have to take care of this. And then what happens is because of that reason, they didn't study, they didn't work hard. And then now the future, there's double pain because they never grew. Versus the people that become a doctor or whatever, oftentimes they are saying, hey, family, I know I seem selfish, but I need to do this for us. And so then they'll do the thing. And then, 5 years down the road, 10 years now, everybody grows together. So I know that doesn't like directly apply to you, but like just hearing the amount of stuff you have going on, like on a serious note, um, I know what lays ahead of you. Like you're that this next chapter, there's gonna be a little bit of quiet while you do research and figure out the niche and stuff like that. But then you're gonna be very challenged. There's gonna be a lot of mental thinking down the road. And you're gonna be between a rock and a hard place down the road.
Yeah.
So just things to
Yeah.
be thinking for the future.
No, absolutely. Like because there are two paths that I was thinking about. I mean, first of all, like for me, this is probably the most selfish thing I've done for myself, like
Yeah.
hopping on into this. And it was part of my head that like I definitely wanted something for me, right? Because I mean, I'm more of the what can I do for other people? And so I didn't want to, I felt like I had done enough in terms of convincing other people what could be done for them, what I could do for them. And I wanted to be able to have that proof for myself that I can do this for myself. So I would say this is the biggest thing that I knew adding it would tip me on my balance in terms of what I'm doing here and what I'm doing there. But in my mind, I'm like, I definitely want to be able to do this because I think it will be better off on a long term overall in terms of what I can benefit from it. And so my mind is also running through the race of what do I need to clear off? Because I think ultimately both in a sense are aligning in almost the same way because what I'm doing with the things I do on the church side is I'm trying to fire myself. That's essentially what I'm doing. So it's sort of like um either one will happen first where I get to this part quicker, where I actually get to fire myself quicker. So then I have more time to do this part of things as well before it gets ham on this side of things, right? So if when I get that piece of a quiet too, as I'm doing some of the things here, I will be ramping up whatever I needed to get to as an MVP for that piece, right? Which is everything around me taking myself out of there. And I think I'm almost there. And that really was my heart because I know I love what I do in terms of serving, but it was always the things that just kept on happening and all of those things. So how do I make sure I kind of find myself and I can take a broad approach? And so, that fuels me in terms of like my thinking pattern, my thinking process. For what I also do here. Funny enough, in the meeting that I had last night with the guy I was talking to, I'm like, okay, so I was telling him that the program I'm in right now, there's something I need to model for what we do here. And I was saying like, this is what I have, and I want to be able to have that same one-stop shop document of sorts that is a condensed version of all the policies that we have for what we do. And I want a condensed version that always shows them exactly what they need to do at any point in time, and they always have accessible to them pinned wherever, in maybe ClickUp or whatever we're using for our tools. So they have this, both kind of have this synergy right now in my head in a way that I am pulling from here to there and back. So hopefully I finish this piece quicker, which allows me to also, spend more time here as well and do as much as I want, because I won't have to be bothering with this as much, essentially, right? So that's my goal. That's my hope. Yeah.
My fingers are, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. And once you do that, I mean, it's, we can talk about the next things, but, it's not super important for the purpose of this conversation, but really I would just say, like, after you kind of fire yourself from that, my next immediate goal, if I'm you, is, you need to figure out your minimum, you need to figure out your freedom number in terms of your 9 to 5. And that freedom number is the minimum amount you need to survive. And once you make that through the business, then you can actually quit the 9 to 5, and then you have extra time to scale this up, and then you should be free.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Which is in my head is a 2-year plan. I don't see once I've probably gotten my papers, hopefully, I guess I'm stuck with them for 2 years, which is fine because, my process and whatnot, which is okay. So by the time the business starts doing those, minimum numbers that we're talking about, ultimately my goal is, this is probably what takes the most of my time, like working 9 to 5. Once I can do that, I think the rest is up from there. Yeah, the rest will be up from there, because then I can, I don't spend nearly as much time doing the other stuff as I obviously do, like Monday to Friday, 8 hours, just like spent in my brain, and my brain could be used doing other things that it should be doing, and my time and my energy. So yeah, my hope is I can quit this in the next 2 years. That's really where I was like, I just feel like I'm stuck. I don't see myself working for another like corporate office or anything like that, because I know what it would have to take. After I was done my software degree, I was like, I don't think I have much to show in terms of like all the things that I did with my portfolio or whatever, right? So for me to scale from here, I probably have to go do a certification in a different field, maybe data analyst or what. I just don't have that in me. Like, I don't have that in me to scale up that corporate. Other people are different, but I think my head is just more entrepreneurial or whatever. I'm like, I would probably rather die than get another job, right? So yeah. But I mean, if I have to do it to, move the business forward and like I'm in a pickle, I will. Like, it's all those calculated risks. That's what's always going through my brain. It's like, what do I need to survive to get to the next step? When I was doing the laborer job, like I was working at the warehouse, I'm like, I'm gonna quit today. I'm gonna go take a line of credit, and I'm gonna live off that line of credit till I figure out business. And somehow God just being gracious, I managed to get this, so it kind of like calmed me down a little bit, because I didn't have to be as risky. So I was more calculated that I could be making some income here trying to do this thing. So that's how my brain is always working. But I already knew that I don't think I'll work for someone too long before I can move away from it. So yeah.
Definitely in the right place. I think a lot of us are allergic to that. I know I was allergic to that. I know Mason's allergic to that. So, so 2 years, I think that's a healthy number. Actually, I think it's pretty healthy. So,
Yeah.
um,
Thank you.
anything else, MJ? I know this has kind of been like a therapy session, but is there
Yeah, I feel good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, keep
Okay.
working. Usually it's around this time. Once you get through and go through a calculator, usually there's about a week where you and I chat, and it's sometimes annoying in determining the niche. For example, Daniel, he was like, Koji, why are you bickering at me? Why do you keep giving me so much fucking pushback on my niche? And you see him cracking up there. So we'll probably go through that here in a few days. And then be off to the rainbows once you've selected your niche, and it'll be fun again. So um cool, MJ. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next
Yeah,
person.
for sure. Thank
I'll
you.
check it back, whatever, we'll chat. Okay.
Totally. Thanks.
Yep. Daniel, we're skipping past you, man. That was your turn already. You're done, dude.
Yeah, sorry. I thought the question was, you have anything for Mason since he was going? So I said, no, I got nothing.
No, good. What's up, man?
But I don't know, man. Just like I feel like I'm hitting a wall as far as like mentally, and just um the last couple few days I felt like I was checked out a little bit. So I just gotta like get refired up and get back in it.
Talk about it.
It just seemed daunting. Like I don't know, like spinning my wheels and you know, this well, like I already spoke with you earlier, but I got a funeral to go to this week. That's actually Wednesday, and I don't know, just like a lot of like family stuff as far as it being Mother's Day. My wife was it was a hell of a day yesterday, man. It was like it's kind of funny now, but like she was cutting serrano peppers, and it got in her skin and her fingers, and she was miserable like all day. Like she was just in agony. It was like probably 6 7 hours of it just like burning her, and so she couldn't like really handle the baby. It's Mother's Day, so like it was like her parents came over, and I was grilling some food, and but it was just like it was mentally brutal for me. I mean, physically for her, but yeah. So it's just whatever. I went and I filmed Allie on Thursday, and it was underwhelming in a sense. Like I thought, which is fine, I guess, if she's like, maybe she's just confident in me, but I thought that I'd get like a little more welcome, a little more like love there, but it was just like she wasn't even there till like the very end, and even then she was like, "Okay, do you need anything from me?" I was like, "No," and I unless there's some miscommunication as far as I thought she wanted to be filmed. She didn't want to be filmed. Um, and then like beforehand, like so this is the third week of her signing on, and I was supposed to film her last week, but she was in New York, so she pushed it back to this week, which is why maybe I thought she wanted to be on camera, but I don't know why we pushed it back, to be honest, but we did. So now it's just like the pressure, I guess, of getting her results is where I'm at right now, and then also, finding a new client for the niche. But the good news is I've actually so on Thursday after I filmed, I went and I stopped by 3 Pilates studios on my way home near my house, and it's kind of tricky with Pilates because I don't want to interrupt a class. So I'm like going on the schedule and seeing like when the classes are ending, and like also if the owner is instructing. So it's kind of like this balance. I can't just like walk in. I've learned, which I did Thursday, and so anyway, Thursday, one of the ones, the studio was closed, but there was a person inside, and she let me in. I introduced myself. I said, "Hi, is the owner here?" And she said, "Oh no, she's gone. She teaches a class tomorrow." It was like 5 a.m. She teaches class. I'm like, shit, that's early. So anyway, I just kind of introduced myself, and I showed her a link. I had it on my phone, like what I do, and I was saying like, yeah, I'm offering a free video for just to kind of like get more stuff on my portfolio, and I want to branch out as far as what working with Pilates and all that. And she said, "Oh, she would be really interested. Like, why don't you give her a call?" So I called her today. Well, I got a hold of her today rather, and yeah, she was like very interested. I didn't bother going in person. I just kind of said, "Well, I know that the video says to go in person," but I was like, I'll just give her a call. So anyway, I did, and she was like super, super excited about it. She's like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And she's going in details about like I thought it was funny because she was like, "Yeah, we can take a video of this, we can do this, like my instructors, and like it'll be hard to get it'll just take some coursing as far as like the clients, like if it's a class, I gotta make sure everyone's okay with that." And I was thinking, okay, slow down. I was like, yeah, I want to do this to you for free, but in exchange for, I just want an hour of your time basically on Zoom to kind of like, I said, I want to pick your brain as far as what makes you tick as a Pilates studio owner. I want to know like I want to know your market. I want to know what kind of ads would make you bite, and what kind of ads you put out. And she said, okay, yeah, great. So I emailed her a link to my reel so she can know I'm legit. And then hopefully we'll schedule a time this week. But
So,
so that's what I have on my plate this week, and also editing the footage I took on Thursday.
okay, good stuff, good stuff. What's so I mean, is there what's the move in terms of her? I'm just kind of asking. Like I already pretty much know what the move is. I'm just curious if there's anything else in terms of the move with her, the one that's excited.
What's the move?
Yeah, like I guess what's your game plan or what are you gonna do from here on out? Do you know?
Okay, so my plan is to get her on Zoom and like ask her all those questions so I know which ads, so what copy to run with as far as my ads for that niche, right? And then I will kind of go with her, like ask her what kind of video she wants. I think it's better. I think it'll have a bigger punch if I hold off on the sales pitch to her until after I deliver the video, and like I can just kind of walk through her and like maybe even like show a funnel or two built for Pilates, and then hopefully just kind of say like do like a maybe like a trial run with her. Like she gave me her time. Here's your video, and then so like we kind of each did something for each other, and then maybe just picture my services.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
One thing to be careful of is um there's client acquisition and then there's service delivery, right? There's you getting more clients and then there's you delivering on, like, hey, here's how I'm going to help you, right? So
Right.
the way you want to make sure you position everything is you want to make sure that she sees you as an expert here. So she sees you as an expert in terms of like, okay, this guy knows how to help Pilates students get leads, make sales, do the marketing, do the advertising. He just doesn't know exactly how to speak to them in order to get them to basically book a call with them. And that's why he's having a conversation with me. He's doing market research, right? So that's a very important tip. Like, so for example, if you were to say to her, hey, what kind of video do you want? What happens now all of a sudden is you kind of relinquish your power because shouldn't you already know this?
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm you have to kind of be very subtle. Like, for example, I was in a medical spa the other day. I got this medical spa to bite. And, I was like, hey, have you considered doing Botox? And she's like, Botox isn't really, doesn't make us money. I was like, well, it's not about making the money. Here's how my low ticket funnel worked. And then she's like, what's your website? You know what I mean? And so the next thing you know, I set up a meeting with her and Aman, and that's that. But so what I'm trying to kind of get across to you is like, you have to position yourself as an expert in knowing your thing. And so if I'm you, like say, hey, look, like you just want to plant small little seeds. You want to like it's like sharp stabs. It's like, so in my experience, like what works, like you're very nonchalant about it. It's like, well, like I don't know where this would come in the conversation. Like, okay, so I guess tell me like what you serve and what you think your customers want. Like in my experience, the number one ads that we've seen work very well actually weren't like free classes, but they were like free one-on-ones. But that's just my personal experience. Like, what do you think about your niche? Do you see how I'm doing that?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Is like you have to show her you know what the fuck you're talking about, and she almost is gonna feel stupid. You know what I mean? In some, not stupid, but she's gonna feel like, man, this guy really knows his shit, and I actually want to really work with him. And I promise you, if you do it right, you're gonna get her to bite where she's gonna be like, well, what does it look like to actually work with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just a small little important thing. So when it comes to ask her, when you go in there, when it comes to service delivery, you seem like an expert. If it's a question on service delivery, make sure you don't seem like an amateur. You know exactly what you're doing. When it comes to client acquisition, you are a baby. You know nothing, and that's why you're picking her brain.
Okay. That makes sense.
Do you have questions? A lot of the stuff that you brought up is just kind of like updates. Do you have questions in terms of where you're at?
Not really. I mean, I just got to do the work as far as editing and stuff. Well, I guess like for the video creatives, like do you keep it under a certain time as far as like an ad, or I'm thinking like 30 seconds. I don't know.
It has to be as long as it has to be. I mean, I know my best performing ads have been about a minute 30 seconds, but every niche is different. You just have to test, honestly. There's no like, I can't give you, you don't know until you test, honestly. That's just the answer. But 30
Okay, so
for the kind of ad that you're going to be pumping out, I'm guessing is like BTS and people in action and high energy with like an offer. 30 seconds is probably a good time. But
Yeah.
you go into the edit and you think to yourself, okay, assume it's a consumer and just be like, okay, is this enough or is this too much or too little? Just based off of that. I wouldn't make it a certain time frame.
Yeah. Okay.
Other
That's
questions?
all I have. That's all I had. I guess I do have a question regarding remember like at the start of this I told you we had a wedding to go to at the end of the month.
Mhm.
So I was gonna let you know that that's coming up. And yeah, so I'll be gone the starting next week, Tuesday. So I may not be able to attend the Zoom call on the 27th, which is Memorial Day. So I don't know if yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, just
Yeah.
from when to when are you going to be gone from the 21st to the 28th?
The 21st to the 28th. Yeah, we're coming back the day after
Yeah, dude, just shoot me,
Memorial Day.
just shoot me a message, sometimes towards the end of this week or early next week. Just remind me. It's all good.
Okay. Okay.
We'll throw on an additional week for you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, that's all I had.
Nothing else? You sure?
I mean, no, I mean, I've been slacking in terms of motivation, and like I was talking to you earlier, in terms of like getting the work done.
Why,
I
why do you think that is? I mean, we can talk a little bit about that because I think it is important. Like we have so many touch points with you guys that's kind of like I know how you guys feel because I feel it with you. Like I see your interaction, I see your behavior. And so I know when somebody's kind of gassed, I know when somebody's like full of energy. And so I kind of anticipate this conversation with you actually. I was waiting for you to bring this up. So I mean,
um
talk to me about it. Like why do you think you feel that way?
I don't know. It's just like all the pressure, in terms of like the stuff like the client acquisition I got. Now I got to do client delivery, okay, and then client delivery like almost handicapped because of like what she doesn't like. She doesn't want to use the winning ad that we've discussed. So I have to. What you were saying is like what I wanted to do. What you suggested was doing like two creatives and two funnels, basically showing her like, listen, this is what can we run the two funnels basically, and then convince her of that, and then just kind of. I mean, I guess just the pressure. It feels like this big wall out of this reach, and I'm just kind of like staring at the wall. Um, but yeah,
Not,
like
so are you not doing the free one-on-one? Instead, you're doing like some kind of a discounted thing? Or are you doing like a free class? There's
we're
free
doing
one-on-one, free class, and then discounted stuff.
where she wants a discounted class or bundle of classes. Like she doesn't want free anything. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, well,
So
that's not the winning offer.
if I'm you, Daniel, here's what you got to do, man. You got to you I'm not like at this point like I can give you some advice, but really a lot of the advice, man, is going to be that lady. And I know I keep going back to that, but she's going to be somebody who can tell you a lot more because she's probably tested out a lot of the stuff. So one thing that comes to my mind that I would do is I would, I would take something that's just like almost unbelievable in terms of a price point. So people that are doing Pilates, they should have an idea. Like it's $200 a session or something. I don't know what it is. But let's just say it's $200 a session. And then you run an ad and say, hey, $150 off or get a pack of sessions for like 20 bucks each. So that seems really good. And then most likely what's going to happen is there's going to be some kind of a phone call, have a conversation, and then get them to come into the establishment. That's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lead form ad. They opt in, you have a conversation, somebody has a conversation, pushes them into the establishment. I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't even know what the price point would be, like a good price point would be, but like I'm willing to bet that she's probably tested something like that out. So if I'm you, you should have a conversation with her about that.
So one thing I did was I actually went through a funnel. I've been trying to get the algorithm of Pilates in my Instagram, and I actually went through a funnel and actually paid. For it's not Pilates though, but it's I have a video. I'll send it to you, Mason, on Slack. But it's a lead acquisition, It's $49, and it's called the Stretch Lab. So it's like you just go in there, and then people kind of like help you stretch, and they have like like a room full of like tables that people are on, and you go in and like you make an appointment. So the way that their funnel worked was it was just a lead form. I put in my info. They called me and took my credit card info over the phone.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna. That's the part I was
Yeah,
missing. I'm pretty sure what's gonna have to happen. So how much do they take? $47 on the phone?
49. I'll take just under 50.
Okay, and that 49 was to cover what cost?
That's the price of one session, one like 50
Okay.
minute session.
And you have not gone inside yet, have you?
And I'm not gone inside yet.
When are you going inside?
Um, Probably the this week, or it has to be this week actually. Yeah, I gotta schedule that. I
So
haven't
when
scheduled it. Yeah.
they call you, they just take the money and they don't schedule it
Well,
for you?
no, sorry. They scheduled me. I had to reschedule. They give you a window to reschedule without. I had to reschedule because my wife was working and I couldn't get my mother-in-law wasn't here to watch the baby, so I just rescheduled it.
So what do you think's gonna happen when you go inside?
I'm expecting to be upsold. So, or like, it's because it's like a just a one session, so that I don't know if they're gonna offer me like a package or some kind of
So if
whatever.
I'm you, man, keep these spidey senses on high alert and go through that whole experience. And I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be like some 2 grand thing that they're going to try to upsell you. Obviously, if it's that, I know you're not going to, pull out your card for that. But learn as much as you can. Go as deep as you can in the funnel. Even like maybe if they say it's like 2 grand, say, yeah, I'm interested. I just don't have my card on me right now. Like let them believe it and see how far you can, bless you, and then
Thank
see
you.
how much you're welcome, and then see what you can learn. Okay. And another thing I would do is I would 100% I don't know if you can even maybe take your camera with you, like a book bag with your camera. That might be cool, actually. Like go in, take your book bag with your camera, have like your reel on your phone. And so see if you can find the business owner and then say, hey, look, I really love what you're doing. Can I show you something really quick? Pull out your phone, boom. Hey, this is what I do. I actually create content, da 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 da. I would love to create something like this for you. 100% free of charge. I just really like what you're doing. Do you mind if, all I would ask of you is to see if I can sit down, maybe um, what's it called? Pique your brain. I'm having a brain fart right now, guys. Poke
Take
your
your
brain,
brain. Yeah.
pick your brain, pick your brain, poke your brain, pick your brain, pick your brain, and see if you can get a conversation with them. And then literally from there, dude, you can get all the numbers from that business owner. Cost per click, cost per lead, how much they upsell, ROAS, all that stuff. I would 110% like capitalize on something like that if I were you.
Okay.
And share that, like share everything you shared with me with that Pilates instructor that contact that you already have. Daniel, dude, like that's fucking awesome. Like that's exactly the kind of stuff you should be doing. 100%. Like I don't know what kind of creative they use, like, but like maybe that's some inspiration as well. Like I don't know what kind of creative, what kind of offer they use. Did you record the call that they had with you?
I did.
Nice. So you know the
Yeah.
script, good stuff.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're a smooth criminal, man. You're catching on. You got
Yeah.
all the tricks.
Except I recorded on Loom and I was on my cell phone, and I have a habit of like walking around when I talk. So I don't know how much of it caught. I kept like reminding myself to sit down next to the computer.
So
But
in terms of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, I was gonna say like yeah, but I got it all, and like I said, it wasn't Pilates. It was like the stretching thing.
There's keep it. Like this is the kind of stuff you keep it, you try it, you try model it, see if it works. If it works, great. If not, no worries. Um, what was I gonna say? Okay. And then just regarding like, just getting fired up and stuff, man. I remember, I used to run track. I would run a 400 meter. And I remember the very first time I ran the 400 meter in my life, there was like this one guy. It was in the 6th grade, fast as hell. I was fast as hell. We were the fastest kids. And so we were always talking smack to each other. And so when we got out in the field, me and him, we were just like sprinting. And me and him are both gassed out at like the 100-yard mark, and then everybody else like jogs and we're like the last ones that finish the race. And so that day taught me a very valuable lesson of like, hey, this is a longer race. You have to kind of go, you can't sprint it. And so fast forward a few years later, I'm running, I'm running track in high school. And for me, I would always run, I'd be good for the first 100 meters, second 100 meters, the third 100 meters. By the end of it, I was gassed out. Like I was always gassed out. And I had just like I had my coach. It's interesting. He would come, he would circle back at the 300-meter mark, and then he would yell. And that would always get me fired up. And then I would sprint the last bit, and then I would like throw up and die at the end of the race every time. And so point being is like, this is that part of the race where, it feels exhausting. I know how you feel. And I just want you to know that it's normal and just to pace yourself. That's it. That's the main thing. Know that what you're going through right now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think what's disappointing is I had a goal, like I'd be further along where I am right now in terms of like the niche. I thought like but the ads would have already been out there and I would have like the last 4 weeks of this program, just like finding leads basically, and I'm not there. And I think it's just that's what I'm disappointed of.
The reason, I mean, this is why I updated this, right? Have you came back here and had a look?
Yeah.
Anytime recently? Like, dude, it's 20 weeks. It's not 4 weeks. And so I got to send you a video. Daniel, remind me of this, okay? I was waiting to send you this video. I think it's timely that I send it to you now. It's a video that I sent Kyle. I sent it to Kyle about 3 weeks ago when he was considering take on a client. I said, don't take the client on because of reason XYZ. And I shared that video with Cam before he started. And now I'm going to go and share that video with you. And you can see Cam kind of nodding his head. And the reason for that is because after you hopped in, Daniel, we made our program, we switched it out and made it 6 months as opposed to 3 months. And the reason is like literally stuff like this, like what you're talking right now. I've realized after just multiple people, it needs to be 6 months long. And so there's a reason why it's 20 weeks. So that's one thing I want to share with you. And the second thing I want to share with you is your case. Don't beat yourself up. You are taking the more challenging route. And when I say that, what I mean by that is most people, they're going to take MJ's route. MJ's route is he hopped in, ran ads, closed a deal, and now he's going to focus on med spas. He's going to focus most of his time on med spas. You haven't done that. Your case is different. You close a deal, you're actually serving her, you shot, like all the stuff. So like the pace that you're moving at, Daniel, is normal. So for what that's worth, right? If you feel like everything I've said to you is in your best interest and you don't think I'm gassing you up, I want you to know like the rate that you're going at is normal for you, for your skill set.
Okay.
Don't beat yourself up. You're doing fantastic, honestly.
Wait, so you're saying this is 20 weeks instead of 12?
So I will send you a video.
Seriously?
I will send you a
Okay.
video and it'll like, just explain a lot more in detail. What I'm simply
Okay.
saying is that for all the things, right? For all the things that somebody should, for all the things that somebody will want to accomplish, where if God forbid I'm hit by a truck, Mason disappears. If you can accomplish all of these things, right? So carefully read through them. If you can accomplish all these things, you will be fine if I'm not here and if Mason is not here. And my goal is to take somebody through all of these things. And it typically takes about 20 weeks to get through all these things.
Okay.
So if you read through this, it's like, yeah, I've done that, 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 I've done that. It's when people have done all of these things where I know that they're good to go. If something happens to me or Mason, you guys are going to be fine and can scale to 10, 20K plus per month. But you need to accomplish all these things.
Okay, got it. So there's a video you upload on this. Okay.
No, message me. Just literally like right now.
Okay.
Like message me, say, hey, Kaushik, send me that video that you're referring to. And that video will explain a lot more stuff.
Got it.
Do not. So, I'm not going to sit there and like tell you like, Daniel, don't be overwhelmed. Don't be this, don't be that. Because I know that the way that human psychology works, me telling you to be confident, me telling you to be XYZ is not going to help you do that. All I can tell you, man, is based off of doing this for as long as I have and seeing as many people come through, you're doing fine in terms of the pace that you're at, man. You're doing fine. The fact that you feel a little bit tired and stuff like that, like you're just feeling what people feel at the 300-meter mark. It's okay. Pace yourself, keep going. You're doing just fine. Nothing is burning to the ground.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging. Thank you.
Welcome. Anything else, man, that you want to chop it up about?
No, that's it. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Welcome. Okay, well, we'll circle back if you have more questions, Daniel.
Okay. I'm actually gonna hop off. My wife's working tonight, so I'm gonna help her
Sounds-
get ready.
Hope
But
she-
thank you guys.
hopefully she's feeling better.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's it lasted overnight, and the morning she was fine, but it was just a very brutal Mother's Day for her.
I'm sure it's not one that she's gonna want to remember in the future. But
All right.
okay, see you, man.
Thank you.
Kyle, what's going on, man?
What's up? What's up? Just going through that Trello stuff. So I'm on step 5 now. And let me see here. Conduct. Okay, so conduct market research. So yeah, I plan on talking to a couple guys at the club that I go to kind of pick their brains. And so I already scheduled a meeting for Wednesday for that. So that'll be interesting because I think I told you earlier, I don't really have much experience on the business side of things at all. So kind of excited to understand a little bit more about the business side of things. So yeah, so I got that book for Wednesday. So yeah, I'm working through Trello here. So I guess the next step for me is to write scripts, and so I haven't started that video yet. So I'm not really sure. Like I think I'll probably end up having a lot of questions. Like this is the part that I imagine I'll be sending you guys probably quite a few Slack messages to figure out what exactly I got to do. The only downside to like jujitsu as the niche is yeah, just like I don't have a lot of experience in the business side of things. Like the other niches that I was thinking of picking, I did have more experience there. So I don't know. I guess that's the only thing. But
Define like business experience. Like, when you say business experience, I would assume your definition of that is you've done some service delivery in that niche. Is that kind of what you mean?
well, I get yes
something-
and no.
Yeah.
So like real estate, like my parents are in that. I have done some actually service delivery, helping a guy sell some lakefront property. We actually ran ads for him. So in that sense, I do have some experience there. But like the car sales and stuff like that, like I actually used to take I used to work for Auto Trader. So I used to like take pictures of cars and upload it to their websites and all that. So, and then my dad being a salesman, right? So I just kind of know the industry. But that's it. Like it's just small things. I guess I'm just kind of starting to rack my mind around how, we're going to come up with these offers for martial arts clubs. That's another thing too. It's like, I was hoping to specialize just in jiu-jitsu, but I don't think that there's enough jiu-jitsu clubs for that. And we talked about that. So yeah.
So the concern is like, if you were to give me like one condensed sentence, what would you say? Like, hey, Kaushik, my concern is this. And my concern is this, and here's what I think will occur.
Right. Okay. So I guess it's unknown territory. My concern is with jujitsu and like these martial art clubs. My concern is just like the lifetime value, and we mentioned that last time. Like it's not as big as some of these other industries where I think it might be a little easier. So that's the concern. And I guess like when I'm coming up with these scripts and these ideas, I think that'll probably become more clear. So I think I just got to do it. It's like, I guess probably the fast answer to that. Just got to get into this a little bit more. So
You're not worried about client acquisition. You're worried about service delivery.
Client acquisition, service delivery. Yeah, kind of like service delivery, like especially when we're talking about the big numbers, like, yeah, can I say we can get this X amount of money to them? Like, I'm just not sure, haven't done it, right?
So from what I have seen, the guys that run the ads, so the guy, Jay, if you remind me, by the way, I can send over, I mean, if Jorge's cool with it, I guess like you should probably ask Jorge. I think that might be the best thing to do. So if you want to shoot Jorge a message, I don't know if he's here right now. He had a conversation with Jay, and if he's willing to share that conversation with you, there's a lot that you can learn from that conversation. And what I can tell you is this Jay guy, he seems like a bright guy, intelligent guy. I know he's probably been doing this for about 2-3 years, but I think he's doing the bare minimum, right? I think it's like the free class or something offer, and just runs it. His clients don't watch his course materials. Clients don't do any, like he's literally just like a button presser, like at this point, from what I'm seeing. Unless it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying that's what he's doing. And he is at 300,000 per year. So if he can be in mind, and to me, that's bad. if like, because I feel like a lot of what makes us successful, you and Cam and Mason, is these coaching calls and the fact that you guys go through a course material and we get feedback and all this stuff. That's what, like, it's not just like, hey, I'm gonna set up some ads for you. It's like all this additional stuff. It's this mindset stuff. And if he's not doing any of that with his jujitsu clients, imagine how much further along his jujitsu clients would be if he actually had, like, was teaching them and they were actually learning from him and he had a lot of valuable stuff. Does that make sense? So it's
Mhm.
like the bar is so low and he's at 300,000. Does that make sense? So it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like you can do that. And you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you just do what he's doing, like, you'll be fine. What I'm saying is maybe my language is not coming across the best, but I'm always challenging you guys to be the best. I'm challenging you guys to be the apex predators in your niche. I'm challenging you guys to be the Hormozis of your industry. And that requires a whole nother level of, commitment. And so if you just do the bare minimum, like, you'll be fine. They'll be fine. And so hopefully maybe that gives you a little bit of perspective of like the amount of work that awaits you. Do the bare minimum. Don't shit yourself. Don't shit the bed, and you'll be at 300,000 a year.
Yeah, no, that is helpful actually. And since doing this, like I have seen, and I've been recording some of these videos, these ads that keep popping up. I've seen some pretty bad ads too in the industry. So anyway, yeah.
And I love Jorge. He's here right now. He's probably listening in. He doesn't have the most experience, right? Like you have more experience running ads than him. Okay, you have more experience, and every single client that he's got, he's been able to get profitable. And so that should tell you another thing. Again, I'm not taking anything away from where he's right here, but
Every
like
client, sorry, I missed that part. Every client he has what? Sorry.
every single client he's had so far, to the best of my knowledge, he's been able to like launch the ads and like they work.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
And so, like, again, I'm trying to explain to you that, like, the issue is not like that's going to be fine. So for you, it's like the first part, client acquisition, service delivery, you're going to be fine. I think my concern is not service delivery right now. My concern is client acquisition for you to get people in for cheaper. That's the thing I'm struggling with Jorge with right now. Because his has a client acquisition of $300. Jorge is a little bit more expensive. I'd like to get that down.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
for you, like, I'm gonna say for you, I would say have a look at Jorge's like creatives and funnels, right? So I think they're in one of these.
I saw one of them. I actually watched one. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, you had him as an example in one.
Yeah, exactly. I had him as an example, him, and then
I think it was step 3. He might have been step 3. Maybe not. Where was that?
Step
There
2.
it is. There it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got the dog groomer, you got the jujitsu, you got the med spa. So these proven funnels, and so you see in his stuff. So like things that were brewing in my mind. There's something I shared the other day. If I were you, I'm going to carve out some time to check this out.
The value drops.
Value. It's something about like an offer. Or no, I think it was in the general tab. It was a coaching call that we had a few weeks ago. This one right here. So this post is from April 15th.
April 15th in the general communication. Okay.
And this is timestamped. And so that's a great offer. And so consider looking into something like that. And so, Jorge has a specific type of offer. If I'm you, those are the kinds of things I'm going to be playing around with. Like, hey, business owner, we're going to get you in 100% free, get a free trial. And then they come in, they cover ad spend. You keep 50% ad spend, you spend 50%, and then you charge a percent, like something different. Those are the kinds of things I would be looking into. So if I'm you, step by step, step 1 is first, let's just solve the problem of client acquisition. I know it's not a concern of yours, but my time and energy would be there. Step 2 is just literally don't shit the bed and people are going to be okay. Step 3 is now really innovate and figure out how to increase that lifetime value slowly. Like it's going to take you some time. It's like 6 months to a year to figure out your apex predator thing. It's going to take you some time. Just like, again, the 6 weeks funnel, you said to me, like, Kaushik, it blew me away how crazy and well it worked. It's because it took me freaking like 3 years to build it, So it's going to take you some time to build that thing.
Mm-hmm. And when you talk about innovation, is that like this kind of innovation could be, we're helping these martial art clubs come up with new programs, essentially.
Yeah, like
ways of running their schools almost.
Yeah, new ways of like running the school where like you I don't know what all it needs to be. Again, I was speaking with somebody about this. Where like I need to take this information somehow, create some material about it. But there's always something like unique. There's some unique sauce about it.
Mm.
It's very counterintuitive. That's how all these things work. There's a free video commercial. We pay and switch it. There's Alex Hormozi's like, we pay you to lose weight, and then he flips it. There's some kind of a bait and switch. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that even makes sense. Yeah.
there's some kind of a bait and switch, and then there's some high ticket thing. Um, and so it could be like, something like me and Jorge were talking about, which is like, hey, you have like one day where like there's like 4 trainers or 3 trainers, and back to back, everybody's doing one-on-ones. And so you have to systematize the business where they can spend one day doing a bunch of one-on-ones every week, right? So they have 3 like sales reps, if you will. Again, I don't know if that's the case or not, but that's for you to figure out, and you will down the road. Another thing that's simpler, and that's like really hard. Another thing that's simpler is like the thing that I talked about, which is like the 100K. Hey, if you're making 150K and you're a professional, you have a wife and kid, you want to protect them, and you've been looking for a way, jujitsu is the best. Like that stuff that I shared with you the other day.
Right. Yeah.
And it could be an easier way because now you're just bringing the right person. It's a traditional model. Opt in, have a conversation, push them in. They pay a high ticket price. That would be much easier to do than to do like this bait and switch type of thing.
Right. Mhm.
Daniel just talked about this, and this Daniel's is relatively simple. It's not some crazy thing. I guess we'll find out, but it's like, hey, it's $47 for the stretch thing. They hop on a call, collect the money, they go in, and then they upsell him. That's not a crazy thing. That's not something that we haven't heard before. But yeah, that's what I mean, like something like that, as
Mhm.
opposed to like what most jitsu places are doing, which is like, hey, hop in, free thing, and then hey, it's $60 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Something better.
Now, is that like kind of coupled with the client acquisition? Like you can attract these clients easier by kind of, mentioning maybe you have this bait and switch kind of idea, or this innovative idea. Like, is that part of the client acquisition?
Oh, okay. So like, hey, jujitsu business owners, we've got a method that's a bait and switch fly trap that you've never heard of before.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
could.
new, unique. It's all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what, and yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. That is what would sell them. Right.
Right.
So what did I do? I mean, um, I sent you this, right? I sent you this video on
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
there's something new, unique, innovative, different about it.
Right. Right.
That's what gets people bought in. They're like, holy shit, yeah, this is super cool.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's somewhere in your marketing that could be a part of it. And I promise you, like that gets people bought in. Another thing with you was like, hey, look, I don't want to do micro short form content, this and that, and da 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 da. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
That'll be a part of your marketing down the road.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And I guess you can always change that if you don't have that right away. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm kind of easy going today too, just because like I got to get through some of this stuff. Like in terms of like I wanted to get through step 5 actually before the call today, but it just didn't work out. But
All good, man. Yeah, things are on cruise control. Things sound fine. I don't see any red flags or nothing's burning. Um, how are you feeling? Like aside from that, like how are you feeling at this point?
yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I think I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think I like that, the thing you were talking to Daniel about how you kind of have it over 20 weeks now.
Mhm.
It's a little bit less stressful. But yeah, I think I'm keeping up to that as well. So, I'd like to go quicker, but life, right?
Life, it's okay. I mean, the pace that you're moving at, man, like from what I'm seeing, like it's totally healthy. As long as you're hitting every single week, as long as you're on it, like you know what I mean, like don't stress.
Cool. Yeah. So I think I'm good for now. I think, yeah, I can't think of anything else. So hopefully I'll have some more questions for you guys this week. I'll be blowing up the Slack messaging, hopefully.
Perfect. Looking forward to it.
All right, cool. Thank you. I'll probably have to get off right away here. I know the kids are home and Montana's having issues up there. So,
All good. Sounds good. Cool.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who do we have next? Jorge playing peekaboo, hopping in and out. So, Camilo, what's going on, man?
What's up, Kashik? How's it going?
Chilling, man, just living the dream. How are you?
Just chilling. Good, I'm good.
Um, questions, comments, concerns. I did respond to you in terms of the one question that you did ask. What's brewing in your head?
So, I mean, leads keep coming in. These past couple of days, I've not been calling people. I've just been super slammed with so many things going on. And like I said on that message, I feel like because I talked to people last week and I have one Discord call, one sales call tomorrow, and I've been texting the guy and he never replied. Like he's not getting back to me, and he seems super excited. But once again, this is a guy who's just getting started with his business. This was the guy who was buying exotic cars and he's planning on renting those cars. But he's not replying to my texts anymore. Like he never replied to any of my texts.
So the initial
Uh,
call is excited, but then after they kind of sort of like,
yeah, yeah, just completely
that's not a
ghosted
good,
or disappeared. Yeah.
good sign.
So that's yeah, like you're saying, that's not a good thing and it's not a good sign. And I mean, I just put it on my calendar and I know that's gonna happen. People are not gonna show up. That's fine. But just sometimes just like for me, time is super precious right now. Just spend time with my kids or shooting content with my clients or whatever it is. It's just like when I put it on my calendar, it's like I can't do anything else, right? But so what I was trying to do, and like I told you, my daughter's starting daycare full time on Wednesday, which is gonna help me so much. That's gonna free up my time right now. She's just getting off at 1 p.m. and so I have to go get her, and then it's hard. So what I'm thinking is next week start calling people and then just booking them for the sales call like 2 days later, like you said.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if
That's
I
what
call
I'm
you on
hoping.
Monday, I'll book you for Wednesday. So it's fresh, it's warm, and so I guess that leads to my questions like how much time are we putting into these sales presentations? Like how much research are we doing? Because I watched the video that you had and it was like market research and how much to make and all of these things which looks super elaborate, but uh how do I tackle those presentations for someone that like this guy that I know he's just getting started or another guy that I talked to that he's making like 400 bucks a month. um how much effort should I put into these presentations knowing that I mean I'm not sure if they can afford it to I'm not sure if they're going to show up.
Um, I think, I think the right mindset to have is just, I know where you're coming from. You're honestly, man, like you're between a rock and a hard place for sure. Like I understand that. But it's, kind of MJ, one of the things MJ said, yeah, he's not here right now, but he said multiple times, I think he may have said today, he may have said in the video in the windshield, he's like, he was in the midst of like not closing. And then he said, I know I hear Kaushik's voice in the back of my head, and Kaushik needs me to get something. And so he kept
Mhm.
pushing, 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 and then he got it. And so now he's good. Now we're moving on to the next thing. And so if I'm you, that's the mindset I would have, is not necessarily how much time should I put in or this or that. It's like, okay, what can I do to get something to show Mason and Kaushik that I'm ready for the next stage?
Gotcha.
How do I do it in the most efficient way possible? So you have to kind of be the judge for yourself. If you, but like, don't short yourself, right? Don't short yourself. Like, don't like be like, oh, this person's going to show up anyways, and then you don't put in the effort. Sometimes what I do with people is like I give people, oftentimes I give everybody 110%. And the moment they give me a reason not to, I give them less energy. That's kind of my way of doing things. That's what I typically do.
Gotcha.
In terms of like what kind of research to do and everything, it might feel daunting and overwhelming at first, but actually it becomes very easy down the road. Like for me, like me and MJ, as he and I were talking, do you see how I like kind of came up with something on the spot?
Uh-huh.
That's it. Like as time progresses and you have like more experience in business, it comes with you very fast. And then you just once you figure it out, then you just have to draw out a diagram, and then you just have to be very good with your words. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's like you don't need to do a whole bunch of research and all this stuff. Like if it makes sense to you and if you can make it make sense to them, then just draw it out and do that. Because that's all I care about. I just care about, can Camilo communicate something in a way to be persuasive to get the yes? That's all I'm trying to see. Because if you can do this now, then I know. And the reason I'm doing this, Camilo, I hope you understand, is like, and I'm not worried about you, but it's like the next stage, as you see with like Daniel, he's like, oh, this is overwhelming. And Kyle is, I don't hold your hand. I cannot hold your hand. So if I have to hold your hand now, I'm gonna have to fucking carry you then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Kind of
absolutely.
like, so it's kind of like, I want to make sure you're good now so that when you get there, I don't have to hold your hand through the whole process.
Totally. Gotcha.
I know that doesn't like directly answer your question, but does that help a
No,
little bit?
it does help. I mean, it's just like I gotta be the judge. I gotta, be the one who makes that decision and see. I mean, just come up with the results so that you guys can move me to the next level, which I know, I understand. That's how the program works. But just like the other guys, it's just sometimes it's like overwhelming. Especially, I mean, my situation, 2 kids and all of these things, but I'm working through it. And so I guess the other question I had is, when I'm doing the sales call through Zoom, am I sharing that sales page with the information? Because I know that's how you did it with me. Am I doing that and I'm typing the answers as I'm talking to them? Okay,
Yep, exactly. That's
cool.
that's my preferred method. I like to share my screen. I mean, I would say do what works for you, but for me, that's what works. And I think a lot of the guys do that as well. Tony, is that what you do? Do you share your screen and kind of like run through a present? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
uh,
dude, that was game changer for me. It took a little while, but it's such a guide. I mean, you're literally just like reading a little bit of a sentence and then paraphrasing it in your own words, and it comes off
Mhm.
so naturally, and you can't really get lost in it. And one thing you were asking about research, I'll just hop in here real quick. Hormozy always talks about like 20 minutes, like the 20 minutes before the call is all it takes to like beat like 90% of your competition because no one does any freaking research at all. So when Koshik was, I think in his course, he talks about like checking to see if they have a pixel on their website, checking to see if they're running ads. And if they are running ads, look at it on the ads library and see what they're running. If you analyze those three things, they're like, holy shit, that's all you have to do. That literally took like maybe 10 minutes. I
Yeah.
did that shit before discovery calls, like even before discovery, I had that information. But in terms of sales, yeah. And we still use that sheet today. I just closed somebody else today with our sheet. So
That's
Awesome.
number
cool.
That's
six.
good.
We're losing like our first one, but they didn't belong. So it's all good. But we're still got five now, so that's cool.
We'll talk
That's
about
good
it.
stuff.
Um, does that help a little bit, Cam?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely, absolutely. So one thing is, like I said, it's just been overwhelming with all my situation, and I haven't had the time to put in, as much time as I want, like as I like for the sales calls. I know Discovery calls have come out like super smooth. I mean, I haven't had any issues or anything like that. So those ones I feel super confident about. Now I gotta start doing the sales calls and see how that goes. The one thing that I can say is like the leads that I've seen just by looking over them, it's just like a few of them are decent on like with my eyes. I know from your perspectives, like try to close anyone, and that's what I'm gonna do. But that's just the thing that's on my mind. Is like, should I put a lot of time or
How many leads,
just
how many leads have you had so far?
like 29 or something? Let me check
And
here.
then, and then approximately how many of those are like the ones that you're looking at like, hey, these are pretty decent? Is it three?
Like 3 or 4.
Yep. So do you remember what I said in terms of ratio
Yeah,
last?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's
And and
exactly.
and, and so that's what I'm doing. I was looking at a couple of those leads, and I'm like, okay, I want to like keep these leads for next week because I want to call them like on Monday and book them for Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. Because right now I had calls last week, and then I'm booking people for next week. So I think it's way too long in between, and then
Sure.
people are just gonna like not gonna show up. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Tony, what's the average length that you were pushing people out you remember?
21, 23, 30.
At first we were doing a really bad job of it, and it was like 5 to 6 days, and that we just had like zero return rate. And now we're like next day, sometimes day of. I mean, occasionally it just rolled into a sales call, which is debatable. But I would say the best average is probably like 2 to 3 days maximum.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for your pet grooming, dog grooming funnel. What about like the 6 figures in 6 weeks? Do you feel like it's the same, or do you feel like the number should be different for that?
Mm.
Should it be like a day between, the day of? Like what do you, well, like based off of your experience?
Yeah, I mean, maybe one day in between, and but during that day you have to like nurture them, which is another thing I didn't quite understand. You basically just like if communication stops, it feels like you've lost for the most part, right? So, I mean, I feel like you kind of coach us like the quicker the better. Our tactics of like doing day of are still kind of undecided whether or not that's the right thing. But at least like I think that whole sequence really set us up for understanding how to sell the pet grooming with the discovery call to sales call, right? And like I think some of our best closes are ones that we didn't have time for, like actually didn't have time for. Like literally, I have 10 minutes to tell you about this, but then let's hop on another call. I feel like if you have that attitude across the board for your discovery calls and you like get them off the phone quickly and then get them to book quickly. I mean, a lot of people will book the next day. And you know, obviously some days you have to do weekends. I think our very first close was on like a Sunday, and I was like, "Do people still do sales calls on Sundays?" And you're like, "Uh-huh." So,
So would you say that for you, what's worked best is like the next day? Is that kind of what you're saying?
next day or 2 days out, and if it's 2 days out, we make a big point to like send them something, and it's usually just a personalized loom, and that takes like 3 minutes. It's like, here's me looking at your website. Here's what I would change on your Facebook page. Here's how our leads would go to this, and you should change this. And maybe give them like a little bit of free information on Google to keep them going, like maybe like $40 worth of free information or something, if you will. And then, you know, by the time if they're bought into that, then they actually show up for the call.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so that's between discovery call and sales call. That Loom video.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how do you get them to look forward to that loom? Do you set something up on the discovery call to get them to look forward to that loom?
I haven't yet. No, I probably should like mix that in and be like, hey, I'm gonna send you some more, I don't know, some more content in between. I think I've said that a couple times and then not done it. And then I was like, shit, I didn't follow through. So that's something that I would like to work into my pitch though. Like what's coming next aside from the sales call.
What's, I don't know if you have it off the top of your head or maybe a rough, like what's your current closing rate? Live closing rate. So the ones that actually do show up, like out of 10 people that do show up, like what percent of them are you closing?
Um I'd have to look real quick. I can check and get right back to you.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Um, Hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of perspective. I really like what Tony said in terms of like the energy of like, hey, look, I can't talk right now, but like I can set something up with you tomorrow. I like that energy. That totally makes sense for me in terms of like a 2 day
Mm-hmm.
back to back. But then there's another kind of energy, the second kind of energy, which is like, hey, have this conversation with you. I think you'd be a good fit. Let's set something up. In the meantime, I'd like to send you some content that you could digest before the call just to make sure that this all makes sense to you. So those are two different kind of approaches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whichever one of those I think works for you.
Okay. I'll give it a try. I'll see how that works. Because definitely just keeping that time in between shorter, I think it's gonna work better. Um, but yeah. The other thing that I wanted to ask you is one part of the presentation is talking about how we can rank the funnel on the first page of Google with like using Google My Business. Is that still relevant? Is that something we can still tell them?
I'm pretty sure you can use Google My Business, Google SEO, stuff like that to do that. Mason's the guy to go to for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Honestly. He's
Okay, cool. I'll ask him.
Okay.
And then I guess the other thing is I've been talking to, I mean, some of the clients that I had in the past that I told you that were working with me and they just, I mean, never renewed because they didn't see any results. And then I ran into one of those guys and he's a roofer. And I was looking at the roofing, funnel that you have, like the template. I was like, this is pretty easy. Uh, would this be something that I can, just reach out to him, be like, hey, let's give it another try. This is what we can do. This is how we can get you leads. Because I mean, for me right now, is I'm putting a lot of time into this program and all the calls and everything. But I gotta start bringing in some money, you know. So is that something that I could do?
I mean, I understand. My advice again, I'm going to tell you one thing, but like I think it's more powerful if you hear it from somebody else that's kind of been in your shoes and thought that, and then maybe a few chapters ahead, and maybe you can learn
Okay.
from that. And then I think that's going to be better for you. Um, I think what's good for you is taking on easy jobs where you don't have to learn anything. Right now, what did you say? What are the words that came out of your mouth? Overwhelming. Why is it overwhelming?
Hmm.
Things are overwhelming when we don't know and it's uncharted territory. If, for example, you had a 5 day shoot when it's short form content and you've shot it a million times, is it overwhelming? No, they're different. There's like stressful, it's frustrating. But is it overwhelming where you don't know? No. Right now, what you
Hmm.
feel is overwhelming. It's like new charted territory. It's a lot more challenging. And even you heard Daniel. Daniel was like, "Oh my God, it's like this massive tower," and that's how it feels. And those chapters are ahead of you, Camilo. You're not there right now. I'm giving you everything on a silver platter. I'm just giving it to you on a silver plate, and I know even now it's challenging. Down the road, you're gonna have to figure so much stuff out. It's gonna be like solving a puzzle with 1,000 pieces. And I don't say it to scare you. It's just the reality. And from then, it's like the last thing you want to do is start a road trip with a quarter of your tank. You know what I mean? You want a
Yeah,
full
yeah,
tank.
yeah.
So I know I'm saying a bunch of stuff and maybe sound like blabber, but I like Tony. I can you answer that question for him and sort of give him your perspective? Because we were in the same place, man. What's your advice to him? And coming as somebody, Tony, like his situation is very similar to yours, man. Like you were very cash strapped
Hmm.
at that moment as well. So
Well, I mean, within reason, like I think our big mantra was like, don't take anything with big post production, right? Unless you have somehow like editing outsourcing that you can take. If you can get like big gigs, 1,500, $1,800 cash one day, take those, but you got to push the smaller ones aside. I mean, um, you
Tony,
know,
his sorry, don't mean to cut you off. His specific thing was he has a roofing client that was on retainer with him for a
right.
long time. Decided to, part ways because he wasn't getting an ROI because he was a content creator and not an ROI guy. And now he's having a conversation with Camilo, and Camilo's like, dude, should I take this guy on and run ads for him? Just like
But
you're
no,
doing this.
but no, nothing through the FEC funnel yet.
But he
Got it.
has not closed from the FPC funnel yet. So he has to close from the
Right.
FPC funnel. He has to pick the niche. He has to do all those kinds of things still.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could easily take them, but I think you're just like you're like kind of taking a shortcut on the course and it's not going to help you. Like all the pain that we went through getting this one client, I think we did like 101, had 101 leads and we closed one out of 101 leads for our FEC funnel. And we had a dentist that was a client that we had made videos with before. And we basically pitched it to them and they were cool with it. And they were like, we went back to Koshik and basically we got our first client, and they were like, wait a minute, pump the brakes because we hadn't gotten any FEC calls, FEC sales yet, right? It was just kind of speculative. So, I mean, if you can get like a cash grab, that's like the only thing we were kind of looking for and still kind of holds true. We're still very like cautious about taking on like long-term projects or projects that have a lot of pre or post production. So you can still be a filmmaker. It's more about just like getting more hired gun gigs, if that makes sense, more for like
Hmm.
somebody else's production company or one-offs where you're able to like shoot and then hand off the editing to somebody else and still get a big bag of cash. So in terms of like taking them on as a marketing client, I mean maybe in the future if you're doing roofing, but I mean we turned away, I think it was like $6,500 over like a 3 month spend to continue on this course and spend $6,500 on, like to get through it, and that it was worth it. I mean, like we wouldn't have gotten to where we are if we would just taken that client, stuck with it and like learned dentistry. Like if, we wouldn't have understood the closing process as much. And it is definitely pain for sure. You're in the right
Gotcha. No,
place.
I understand that because that's something that Kushik mentioned since the beginning. Like, there's gonna be pain in every single step of the way. So And the farther you go, like, the bigger that pain is gonna be. And totally understand that. But thank you, Tony. Appreciate that. That helps. Definitely
One thing,
helps.
one thing Tony said is that they had 100 leads and they closed one. I bet you, here's the crazy cool part. And Tony, you tell me, I'm like, you don't need to, like, I know you're gonna tell the truth. If Tony were to go back in time and have those leads, I bet you instead of closing one out of 100, they probably close like 3, 4, 5 out of those 100 now.
Yeah,
Easily,
definitely. Yeah.
easily.
I think I looked at our closing for pet grooming now that we're in a niche, and we've had like basically 25 discovery calls. 20 of those turned into sales calls, and 6 of them turned into clients. So we're like a 33% close rate once we get to a sales call, which I think is pretty good.
20 is average. 20 is industry average. So, they went from, I don't know what their percentage was before, like 5, 10% or whatever it was of the sales calls, to now like they're doing 33%. And again, they had to fail to get here. They had to learn all the,
Gotcha.
you
Mhm.
learn in the failure. And so that's why, again, I'm a huge advocate of like, take the $50 guy on who's making $50 a month, take him on, have a conversation, learn. You never know what golden nugget you can take away. So I know time, in terms of time, like it's hard for me to kind of advise because I can't give you more than 24 hours. Like there's not much I can do that. But in terms of like, hey, look, I need to make some money. I am a firm believer. Don't make this about money. I've said that from day one. Don't make this about money. And Hormozy says that there's a time to learn and there's a time to earn. Adam and Tony have been here for like 6 months now. It's their time to earn now. Now they're closing deals every week, it seems, right? And I'm not saying you're gonna have to take 6 months, but I'm just saying there's a season of learning. I think
Mhm.
that's it for you, Camilo, honestly. So it's like take
Totally.
other jobs on, is what I'm saying. Take on video job, take on stuff that is easy for you. Don't take if you take on this roofing thing. Now I'll give you the short answer. The short answer is this: it is not as simple as that case study. It never is. You can take that case study, run with it, and it completely shits. It may not work for you. I've seen it happen over and over. And on top of that, even if it does work, well, then you have to coach them on nurturing the leads. You have to coach them on selling the leads. You have to coach them on all that stuff. It's not as simple as copy and pasting it.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a short answer.
Perfect. That helps. That's all I had. That is all I had.
Um, I wish I could give you the sexy answer, but I can't give you a sexy answer.
No, like I said, like my daughter's starting daycare full time. That's gonna free up a lot of my time. Right
Good.
now, I'm just getting like from 9:15 to like 12:30 to get as much done. And it's not only this program, but I gotta do work with clients and do, website updates, and I gotta do video editing and all of these things. So it gets super limited, but that's not an excuse. It's just how things are right now. But it's gonna help me so much starting this week, I guess, on Wednesday.
Good. What's your schedule? So right now you have 9 to 12. What are things going to look like after Wednesday?
So after Wednesday, it's gonna be like 9 to like 4 that I go and pick her up.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh man, you have a full
yeah,
day.
yeah.
That's going to be pretty much Monday through Friday, or
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays, it's hard because I stay at home with the baby, and mom has to go to the office. But yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Saturday, Sundays are family days.
Yeah, but I can get some work done. If I have to, I'll get some more work done. Yeah.
Good, good. Oh, this will make a big difference, man. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. I know the exact schedule, so that'll open up a lot for you. So that'll be good for you. Good man. Anything else? A big thing I can tell you, Camille, is just like, please, if you gotta take on video jobs, take on video jobs. That's my big thing to you. Trust me, trust me. It'll help you in the long run, and it'll hurt you if you try to take on any
Gotcha.
market.
Perfect.
Okay.
Understood.
Anything else, man, that I can share with you, Camille?
No, everything else is good.
Okay,
I'm good. I'm good. I'll keep you posted on how those sales calls go.
sounds good.
All right, Kashik. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you.
Um, Tony, actually, Tony, before we go, Michael, how are you doing, man? Are you in a time crunch due to traveling, or do you want me to hit Tony up and then go to you, or do you want to rotate?
I am I am traveling, and we're about to hit the next several like 5 or 6 stations, which the train is going to get more packed and more packed as I go closer to the city. So
Good.
if it's all right with you, Tony.
Absolutely. Go for it. Love to hear where you're at.
Awesome. Yeah, look, so my lead flow is kind of trickled. I know the 2 ads are still running. I've got 9 leads in the funnel. Like, I think I just cleared out 2 because they're legitimate duds. Emails failed to verify. I can tell that they're like, pretty bogus emails. And then the phone number, well, one of the phone numbers was a local Australian cell phone number, and that was like a bogus number. The other one was like a Netherlands number, and the number was off, plus the email was off, and the application was like all unknown. So it was probably someone just like auditing it was just a bogus lead. So I've cleared out the lead. So I'm around 8 leads. One, I haven't booked a sales call yet, but I've had my discovery call. That's the one, Kaushik, I was telling you about in my Wednesday update. So I guess going into this, I was under the assumption it would have been appropriate to send her the booking link. But I think after going through your voice note and your next video after conducting the booking call, is to just pre-book for her and iterate. If the time doesn't work for her, kind of just like move to the next time that works for her and I, etc. So I'm kind of there, and obviously the biggest bottleneck right now at this point is just continues to be this common theme with others in the group, is just the 9 to 5, and so I'm considering trying to work with my my office and see if I can do like Fridays work from home, which would give me time to segment my sales calls on Fridays, which I can then dedicate time, because it would be quite logistically challenging for me to bring in my own laptop with Zoom, whether I'm using company assets on the clock in one of the video conferencing rooms, or trying to go down the road to a hotel with spotty internet. Like, it's best if I can, work in a controlled environment of my home office to do that sales call. So that's kind of where I'm at with everything. And yeah, I guess if I were to have a question to the group, it would be how does the group, others who have maybe transitioned from the 9 to 5 with these constraints and bottlenecks to now a point where you have a bit more time freedom because you've been able to step away from that low ticket, safe income.
I wish
I'm going to turn my camera off too right now, just to help with the bandwidth.
Adam just quit his job. You should ask him a question.
Adam, go for it, man. Yeah, if you have some wisdom,
Yeah.
you can on Michael. I think the thing with Michael though isn't necessarily like quitting the 9 to 5, but just like, I don't know, maybe you can kind of share how you made it work, but like his bottleneck is just like, you guys get the leads from the FVC funnel. Like, how did you, Adam, like, I guess, like work through that? Like juggling that and then like juggling nurturing the leads and all that stuff. Like, did you have something that kind of helped you, Adam?
Not really, man. I mean, the one thing that saved me was I had a family that I could live with for no rent, for a little while, which is what I chose to do. And, obviously it's not the best situation, but I am blessed to have that. So yeah, I mean, it's hard balancing all of it for sure. I pretty much had to live at home, work a job that I hated while spending all of my waking hours on this.
Yeah.
That's about, it's tough for sure. I mean, I'm still kind of young, so like it wasn't too hard for me to just move home for a little bit. I knew it was temporary.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's your exact situation right now?
Yeah, so 9 to 5, I'm out of the house at 6:30 in the morning. I'm back the earliest is 7 p.m. Just that's like my full commute. And then I've got the son and wife, so family type stuff. So
Yeah.
trying to like just immediately get home and like just go into the home office, which if I were in my mid-20s and single, I would do.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't really work. And then even if I were to segment my Saturday, Sunday, it's just, again, things that I would normally do if I were young and single. It's just it's not really the best for the sustainability of my family. So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
But the fortunate thing is I do have the home office, I do have the laptop, I do have all the other things to be fully remote. So if I can just try to find that sweet spot, of whether doing a day from home or something like that.
So let's say somebody, so I guess like what exactly, like let's be specific, like give me a specific case, like, okay, Kaushik, I'm, spending the money and we're getting the leads, but like I'll get a lead while I'm at the 9 to 5, and then here's the issue while I'm at my 9 to 5, I can't do XYZ, and this is the issue. And here's
That's
why
it.
like, so is that what the issue is like you're getting the leads, but they're while you're at your 9 to 5 and you're kind of like, I don't really know what to do here. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
That's it. I mean, I manage a team. It's a small team, but it's of a large organization with over 1,000 employees across the state. And
So you can't, so is there no
so I mean, I've got those kind of.
You're breaking up a little bit, Michael.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so I couldn't hear what you said. Yeah, but if you can please repeat that.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that with my daily portfolio 9 to 5, I've got quite a bit of responsibility, so it's hard for me to peel away as soon as a lead comes in. There are times where I can, but it's not predictable.
Gotcha. So if I were in your shoes, here's what I would do is first of all, I would set some kind of thing up where every single time a lead comes in, you are notified. I don't know if you got the A2P issue. If you do have the A2P issue, well then, that's kind of an issue there, but I would definitely at least have like an email thing set up, and like there's like a ding that goes off, or a vibration that's set up or something, so that you're notified. So hey, a lead just came in. And then step 2 is I would then, if you can get away and peel away, I would peel away and ring that person up right then and there and understand it's going to be on average about 15 minutes. Step 3 is if I cannot do that, then I'm going to text them and I'm going to keep them warm and tell myself I will call that person as soon as I get home and I'll set something up. And then step 3 or step 4, I forget what I'm on, but like the moment I get home, if I'm you, I'm going to have a conversation. Again, I hope I'm not overstepping here, but like I would have a conversation with the wife, the family, and say, hey, look, this is something I need to do. The moment I hop in, I need the first hour to commit to doing this thing. And so the moment you get home, you're committing to taking care of what you need to take care of, and then it's family time. That's pretty much how I would play it. The other thing I would do if I were you is I don't think that you should take off Fridays and work from home. I don't think you should do that. The reason for that is I don't know if you were here listening to Tony and Cam talking about like how long there should be in between their discovery and their sales calls. And Tony is sharing his experience. He's saying, hey, look, sometimes I do it the same day, sometimes I do it the next day. And so I've come to find that to be true as well for these kinds of funnels, is like the maximum you want to do is like the next day or the day after. And so if it's the next day, I really like what Tony said. His strategy is like, hey, the energy is kind of like, hey, look, I can't get into much here. I'm a little bit busy, or not necessarily saying, but like you're giving that vibe, but I can go over this tomorrow with you. Let's set something up. And so he's kind of playing the urgency card. Whereas the second case is like, hey, I think this would be a good fit. Let's have a conversation. Let's book it out, not tomorrow, but the day after. This way I can give you some content to watch tomorrow, help you decide if this actually makes sense for you. So those are the two options. So either one of those, Friday is kind of not the solution, right? And again, my job here is to like try to help you and ensure that you don't hurt yourself. And I think that could be something that actually hurts you if you don't need to be doing that. That could hurt you in terms of your 9 to 5. If you have the grace of getting some kind of favor, it wouldn't be that. I would be doing something else, like getting out early or something else would be my move if I were you. I don't know if any of that helps at all, Michael.
Yeah, it sure does. In fact, I do know that if I could tweak my hours a little bit and even just like kind of work at my desk, I could manage to be able to get out a bit earlier on a given day. So that's certainly on the cards. And then, as you suggested earlier, just like having a chat with the family and trying to carve out that additional hour to be able to follow up with leads is another really good benefit. I do currently have all of the notifications from when a lead opts in, as well as when they complete an application. I've forwarded the application answers to my email so I can, screen it all on the road. So I could see it's essentially end-to-end process of when a lead falls into the funnel. The thing is, I'm feeling that it could just be the ad performance, but both ads within the ad set have kind of slowed down a little bit. The budgets are still live and everything, so I can kind of turn the dial up a little bit if I expand my scope from just the state of Western Australia to all of Australia, and get me access from 2.8 million to over 26 million. So thinking about that to help kind of more leads, more opportunities to get my numbers and reps up. Yeah.
So one more thing I'll go into, like, before we talk about the ad spend, is another thing is, like, I think, like, having a conversation with the wife again, I'm glad you don't feel like I'm overstepping, but to make that even better is potentially like saying, hey, from the moment I get home, I need like a 3-hour buffer because I don't know if I'm gonna have a discovery call or a sales call, whatever. And so again, I hope I'm not overstepping, but like that's what I would do if I were in your shoes, right? Because if I'm you, and to drive this point home, is like, when I'm in the office, I'm you. Priority number one is hop on a call if I can to do discovery calls. If I cannot, it's like, hey, every day that I get home from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., I'm gonna drill these discovery calls as soon as I get home, freaking on my drive home or whatever, like literally on the train home if you can. That's another tip, or and like setting that time aside where like those are your discovery calls, those are your sales calls, no matter what, and just kind of commit to that. And 2 weeks of uncomfortableness, like that's what it is. Reality is like 2 weeks if you really do this and you really drill it, and that's what it takes, and then you're fine. The other thing is, so I know you said you had 9 leads. Approximately how much have you spent in terms of USD so far?
Oh, geez, my numbers aren't in front of me. Actually, no, I did just get billed the one invoice. I'd say about $100 USD.
Okay, so that's very healthy then. That's about $10 per lead, so that's perfect. So what you could do is, so how are each of the ad sets performing equally, or is one outperforming the other, or what's kind of going on there?
Great question. Hard to say. Last week when I turned the feed, the story ad on, I just got inundated with like 4 or 5 leads within like a couple of days. I've just been enjoying the notification. So, yep.
We heard 4 to 5 leads, and then you were breaking up a little bit.
Sorry, I just gonna turn that video off. So yeah, no, a couple of leads have come in, but I don't think both of the ads have been running simultaneously for me to just review the performance. A nice little boost of leads into the funnel. But the other thing is I haven't been looking at the back end of the ad account to verify and compare the numbers and their performance.
Okay. So if you'd like, I mean, we can have a look, right? Like, so later today or tomorrow, if you want to send over a quick Loom video, just like running over your analytics.
Yeah.
Just so I can like specifically showing like your ad set. So like the story versus the feed. And then we can kind of like advise from there. My suggestion is, if they're both doing about the same, if feeds and stories are doing both well, then my suggestion honestly would be just to like duplicate either the feed or story, whichever is doing best. And now you're spending, instead of spending X dollar per day, now you're spending X plus, and like this way you can scale. Like that's what I would do. I don't necessarily think that trying to go to all of Australia is gonna, it could help, but like not like, I don't think it would like the problem with just like going to Australia, there's not necessarily a problem, but like you're gonna have to change your opt-in page, right? You have to change your opt-in page, you have to change your ads so that they specifically say, hey, attention business owners in Australia instead of Perth, Australia, right? So you have to make some changes. That's my concern about
Yeah.
that. And so I
Yeah.
just don't
Yeah.
want to misstep and make a small little boo-boo there. And so for me, it's like your cost per lead is like healthy. It's $10, $9. So it's like, dude, just like duplicate one of the ad sets, spend a little bit more, and you should be fine. And that's going to get you higher volume at a faster pace. That's probably what I would do. And I would do that because I wouldn't want to risk breaking anything.
I hear you. Okay.
Question.
So look, I guess there's certainly a lot to consider here with the next 4 or 5 days. Um, a lot of my time will also be because you put together to prep for the sales call. So I've got a pretty good pretty good lead call coming up that I need to confirm with her.
Okay.
But look, guys, as you suggested, just to not be emotionally attached to the outcome of it and really just go through the process so that you can evaluate the techniques used in the call. Are you guys there?
You're breaking up a little bit. The last thing I heard was evaluate technique.
Yeah. So I was just saying that the important part for me is to not be emotionally attached to the outcome of this call coming up. And it's really designed for you guys to evaluate, as far as I understand, to evaluate the.
You're breaking up again. I think what you're probably doing, Mike, was you're probably wrapping up and just kind of saying, hey, I've got a sales call, I'm going to take it, and then we'll kind of see what happens from there. That's kind of what I'm guessing you're saying. Um, okay, so again, Michael, I'm guessing like I'm guessing there's no other question, comment, concern. If you can hear me, you can maybe respond through text. And I think the last thing you're kind of just saying is like the game plan for now is just to, have that sales call, get feedback on it, and then just keep trucking along and potentially increase ad spend and have that conversation with the wife. So let me know if you have a question, I guess you can type that out, or you can let us know. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, Michael. Well, I'm gonna go on and answer Tony's question, and then if you have questions or anything like that, Michael, feel free to hop back in here, or if you have to bounce, totally cool as well.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Okay. I think that's just you then, Tony, Adam. Okay. So I sound like a broken record. I know. What's going on, guys? Fill me in on like, I guess like that client, though, stuff that is happening, the one that you guys think is going to drop, and I guess like anything else you feel like you want to share with me and kind of take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, I briefly mentioned Glow Moore's situation earlier. Just trying to get some input about the A2P situation with him. I just kind of mentioned how he sent us some messages today. But you've been communicating more with him in the past couple weeks, so I'll let you kind of explain what's going on with him.
Yeah. And I want to talk on like kids and schedule real quick because it is awful and a pain in the ass, and we all should have waited 10 more years to have children, but we decided to anyway. I have two, almost grown ass kids. They're 10 and 14, so it's a bit easier for me. But you're gonna let people down, you're gonna let them down, you're gonna miss shit. You're gonna miss shit with the job you don't like. So you might as well miss shit with the job you do like, right? And you do need to have a conversation with your partner and let her know or them know that it's temporary, right? It's like, Hormozy kind of like, I listened to this podcast and he like coached himself through it. He's like, listen, like, if shit's not working for you and you need more time and your spouse isn't giving it to you, you have to have a conversation about, as a male figure, I mean, if you want to get chauvinistic about it, like I have this inherent feeling that I need to provide for my family. And right now I'm not providing to the extent that I want to be providing to you. So in order to be able to provide like that, I need to do this and I need your support. And if they know that it's like a year or a year and a half or 2 years, they're fucking sold. It's not like life is gonna be like I'm coming home at 7 and working till 10 every single night. Like it's gonna be for a few years. It's not gonna be a day or two. But like we've had that conversation and so far so good. I mean, if I was sucking and not doing anything and like playing FIFA all day, then she probably wouldn't believe me. But she sees me busting my ass and she sees Adam busting his ass and still on these calls. We're like a lot of times the last people on them. And it takes time. Both of my kids are downstairs doing their own thing and I'm missing some time, but like I'm hopefully buying time in the future, right? I'm buying a healthier, like safer and like more financially rich lifestyle later on down the road. And whether they can understand that or not, that's on them. But like they seem to understand it enough to like give me permission to do what I'm trying to do. And I know that's like heavy conversation, but I always hear people complaining about kids, and I'm like, bros, and they're all little too. Like, wait till they get older and start stealing stuff and getting in trouble at school. Um, but
Cool.
yeah, I'm sorry to rant, but like I just, it's a sore spot when like people, it's nothing that they're doing wrong. I think it's just the way they kind of need to reshape the way their whole family is looking at this, right? What do you think, Kaushik?
Yeah, I think I know, like I don't have a wife, I don't have kids. And so I was just hoping that Mike could hear that, and it sounds like he could hear that, and it sounds to me, I mean, he just left a message, so I'm guessing that hit home a little bit for him.
Yeah.
And that's all that I was hoping for. My experience is just, you've seen my stuff, Tony, Adam. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I broke up with a girl because she bought a car, like literally, like a really good girl who's like, I look back now, I'm like, damn, she could have been wifey material. She's that good. But I broke up with her because of that, because I'm very future looking. Um, and that's like not even the exact point I want to make. The other point I guess I want to make is just like I, for a living, have conversations with people and I discuss their finances. I discuss how much they're in debt. And so I see people every single day and I hear stories every single week. And it breaks my heart to see people that bite off more than they can chew. They go too fast. They don't take care of the future. They don't prepare for like, hey, you got 10, 20K in your bank, but like what happens if cancer hits and now 70K is like sucked out? Like, what are you going to do then? And people just don't prepare for those kinds of things. And I think most people grossly underestimate how much they have to save and the piggy bank and all these things that they have to actually do to live a fulfilling life. There's a lot more than, hey, let me have 5K in my bank, have 10K. Like that's just the starting point. Those are, I guess, just like just a little bit of me rambling, I guess.
Sorry to tangent. So, but in terms of this guy, he was one of our very first closes. He was one of the three that we closed on our, big day, our first big day of closing 3 on a day. And he's been cool up to this point. He didn't quite get his ROI. I mean, maybe he got like close to his ROI on the first month. And this month he's been kind of struggling to get that. His ads aren't performing as well. And to be honest, like his business model is probably going to be the hardest to advertise for, right? It's basically like the difference in a really sexy gym that has like really good personal trainers versus like a 55-year-old bro in his house, right? Like who is going to sell easier? Obviously the sexy trainers at the brick and mortar. So he's like basically trying to sell the service in his home. He's like not got, I mean, his social media, he's probably sharing too much of what he shouldn't be and not sharing enough of what he should be, right? It's like a little bit too much personal, weird political-ish, not quite political, but like some stuff like complaining about like SPCA stuff.
Really quick, as you're speaking, this is how I learn. If I'm you, if I'm Adam, if you guys don't have an Excel sheet already where you write shit down, this is what you be writing down. Write this. Like you need to say, hey, we're gonna create a lesson on how to create your Instagram the right way. Here's how to do it. So literally what you're talking about right now, all this shit that you're complaining about, and you're not complaining, that's not the right word, but like all the shit you're saying, like he's not an ideal candidate. You need to fix this. Not fix it, but you need to create the material for them to fix it. And have like templated images. You go so far to like have templated images to like hand it to them on silver platter so that they can't fuck it up.
We've given him plenty, you know, like he's used a bunch of it too. And I've posted for him. Like I took over like his account and shit. And like he's still just intermittently will post like 4 random things in a day, you know, and I'm just like, dude, don't do that. Like post 1 time a day. And then like the next day there's like 4 random things again. So, you know, it's not entirely that, but it's just like I don't know, dude. I'm kind of fed up. We've done a lot for him, and he's like given us a lot of complaints about just life, right? Like stuff kicking him in the balls. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know. Like he's not I guess maybe our question was like, is he worth fighting for in your opinion?
Yeah, I hear you. You have to be honest and real with yourself and saying, is there something I can learn from this? That's it. Is there anything at all I can learn from this? Can I do not like I would not be of the mindset of like I'm trying to save him to make money. Rather, I'm trying to see if I can save him and see if I can turn somebody around in the event I can learn something here. That's how I view it. That's all almost always like these kinds of cases. So, like for example, me and Aman just had a scenario. Had this chick sign on for like 3 months. She on one of the calls, she literally fucking started crying and blew up on him. And he came to me like, "Cause she was such a traumatic event, bro. Like, I don't want to go through that." And so it turns out she like doesn't speak English as like first language. Anyways, that's like a few months ago, and then 3 months goes by, and now she wants to do another 3 months. And so, okay, we saved it. And then now he's like, hey, should I just take the, so he offered her like 2 grand for 3 months. And she came back. She's like, hey, what if I do, what if I do 4 grand, or what if I could do 3 grand for 4 months? Can you throw in an extra month? Where is she? Right here. So he sent over a Loom video and I'd like to do this. And now I'm like, okay, Aman hits me up. He's like, okay, here's what I think. I think we should do it. And I think we should, you know, where is he? I think we should do it. And here's why. And instead of just saying like, yeah, I do it for the 2K, I'm like, fuck that. We learn from the situation. What all can you learn? What are the things that we can learn? What are the big levers that we can? So right now I'm like, okay, here's an opportunity where you can set her up on a weekly thing so that we learn from the weekly thing where you make more. You don't have to, you have an exit interview, learn from all that stuff. Also, right now is a time where like, hey, if she asks you for like the 3K for 2 months, you say, hey, look, I can do the 3K for 4 months. I'm willing to potentially do that, but I need a favor from you. Is there some things that we can, there's some things I need to do for you, do to make this work for you. And I tell I'm like, hey, she's gonna say yes to that, and then from there, now we can ask her for a bunch of favors. And so we take this opportunity to see if we can save her and make her a good client. Fuck the money. Let's see if we can change the behavior. Challenge yourself to be a better communicator. See what you can learn from the situation. Mm-hmm. And so now we are, and we're pushing that. And it's like, hey, we might take this lady who Aman 3 months ago thought was a dead person, and now we're gonna retain her for an entire year on a weekly thing. We're going to completely switch it around. So again, you have to be honest with yourself and see, is there something you can learn from the situation? And if you feel like you just can't help the dude, like, again, I have a friend like that where I'm like, bro, stop taking photos of you in the fucking mirror. You're not like, bro, like that's not going to sell any personal like it's not, stop it. It just doesn't get it. And if somebody just doesn't get it and you can't help, like I get that. And I totally respect that. And if you can't help them either.
I mean, it was working in the beginning and he was happy, right? I think that he just got overwhelmed with the amount of people, and this seems to be a common theme, the amount of people that aren't converting, right? The amount of people that he has to talk to that are tire kickers. That hurts. I mean, that sucks for anybody, but it's part of the gig, right? It's part of being an entrepreneur, period. Videographer without leads, without anything, just word of mouth, There's lots of tire kickers out there. There's lots of people that are going to offer you $500 for a $5,000 video. You got to deal with it, right? It's part of having a business. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's good advice. And I mean, I'll kind of sleep on it and see. Like, he just came with some really like harsh words this afternoon. It wasn't like, I don't really get my feelings hurt too easily, and they weren't hurt at all by any means this time at all. But
What are some of the
um
things that were said?
yeah, this will be fun. So morning, I feel like I'm doing worse. No one is calling. I'm getting all these wackos wanting to buy beagles and other groomers for pricing. No shows, just eating up all my ad spend. I don't know what's going on, but I'm working hard to get people in. All my years grooming and shoeing horses have never been this hard to find clients. Uh, I'm getting nothing but clowns and making zero profit. Frustrating. I need to be making $500 minimum per day or 2,500 a week. This, so I mean, he's changing his numbers. That's 10 grand a month. Before it was like, I think he was saying like 4 grand a month net, which is kind of a little change in tune. This 65 here or 130 here has to go, meaning like his ticket costs. And then I didn't respond because I was like, he just needs to cool down a little bit. And then a few hours later, he was like, all right, I'm getting off this hamster wheel. I won't be advertising in June. I went into business to make profit. Nothing's been profiting, barely making my money back. There's nothing here in this area of El Paso, just not lucrative here. I may go into the food street taco truck industry.
This guy, like, he works from out of his house, and he does what exactly? Like, he travels to people's places and grooms their pets, or what
But
does he
no,
do?
he runs the business out of his house legally. I double checked, but I guess
People
Texas.
take their pets to his place, and then he grooms them up, and
He's got like a outfitted like garage, let's say, as like a grooming facility with like multiple tables, like different kennels. He can hold up to like 5 dogs at a time. So he knows what he's doing. But like, I mean, I had this discussion with my wife and actually my oldest kid too. It's like, do you want to go see some like 55-year-old dude in the middle of El Paso, Texas at his house? Or do you want to go to like a brick and mortar or have a mobile groomer come to your house? It's pretty simple, right? Um, and another big challenge he's having, he's on the Mexico border, right? He doesn't speak any Spanish at all. And it's like, dude, like, how are you getting by in life right now? Like, at least try, have a few conversational words. Um,
what do you
let
think
me
you
let me let me read you the last thing he said. So I just kind of said, your ads have slowed down a bit. We've been reworking it, as you know. Often that comes with a lull in leads until it sorts itself out. You still have 17 days of ad spend to change your mind. Have you reached out to the previous folks, like we've said? So I tried to get him to bring out like his old clients, and he said, sure have, and it hasn't produced anything. Call, text. They just ignore it and send me to voicemail or get super aggro. If they want cheap, shoddy work, I'll take my skills somewhere else where they're valued. Not here in El Paso. It's dry. Got better luck opening a dive bar.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, I hear you. What do you think you can, I guess, what do you think there is for you here? Like, what are the benefits of pushing forward? What are the cons? Uh, do you think there's anything you can learn from the situation? Like, what, I guess, like, just brain dump that. Again, screw the money, but like, is there anything to learn, anything to benefit? Is there anything that can be done here?
I mean, flipping him would definitely be like a good I think it'd be great to flip his script and like get him back on board because he sent us a testimonial after he got like his first 5 leads. It's terrible, but it's a testimonial. And like he was on board. He's like, this is awesome. This is going great. Like I think he just might be like, look got that high and low vibe, right? A little too high, a little too low. Maybe like some bipolarisms for certain, but I mean, it is attractive. The salesperson in me is attracted in flipping him for certain. That would be nice, a nice skill to have for someone who's on the fence to be able to. And I've talked people down off of the fence a few times for certain, but this guy especially would be a challenge. I don't know what I would do outside of like finding him qualified leads. And his shit went from like $6 or $7 a lead to like 21 a lead, and we duplicated. Adam and I rewatched your value drops today. I saw that you DM'd us some info that I haven't gotten to yet about the larger picture Hormozi stuff, that I definitely want to get to. But we did watch the course material on ad devaluation and ad fatigue, and then we watched that value drop, that 35-minute value drop, and kind of went through that. And I think we've done the first like 2 or 3 in most cases, and then like the next 3 down where that like it gets even more intense and complex. We haven't really done that yet, but we have duplicated. I haven't tried the quick duplication yet, but I have done the exact duplication, and I've done variations of the duplications, new creative, new copy. And the new creative like would work for like 2 days and like get like 3 leads for pretty cheap, and then it just dies. And then like the exact same thing happens. So one of the questions that I had written in here that we took away after we watched it was like, how quickly do you churn through that? And you sort of answer that at the very end of your video, where you're like, I usually give it at least 3 days, if not a week, to like sort of assess everything. If it works, it works right away, which is really good advice. And if it doesn't work right away, it probably won't. But there are instances where something that doesn't work for 3 days may work for the next 3 days. So it's such a complex beast. It'd be nice to kind of have a better understanding, but it's kind of like the stock market. It seems like it's kind of like you're just speculating at the end of the day.
I would say the best advice there is that part that you just got, which is like, if it works right away. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, that's kind of like, instead of like, what I think I meant, and I should have done a better job, is like, if you duplicate something, if you do something, it should work pretty much right away. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think what I was saying is like, if something does start working, so it works for like 7 days, and then it stops working for 3 days, and then it'll maybe work again for 3. That's kind of, I think, what I was trying to say. So it's like, if you do one of those techniques so what I'm saying is this is like, every single time you jumpstart the car battery, it should go. It's never going to not go for 3 days, and then all of a sudden it just starts going, right? Does that make sense, right? You don't jumpstart a car. If you jumpstart a battery, it's going to work right away. It's not going to not work for 3 days and then work. And so that's, I think, hopefully that makes sense. So if you do any of the techniques, you're essentially jumpstarting the battery, it will work. And then it might stop working, and that's okay. But if you jumpstart it and it doesn't work, then it's not going to work. The battery's shot.
When you're trying these things out, like you do 4, like it looks like you do like bits of 4 at a time. Like, and I know that you kind of coached us to do like, I think, keep the same creative but change the copy, and then keep the same copy but change the creative. Is there ever a time when you're like doing a story like right now, especially even for this larger client, like where he's getting ad fatigue too, right? And we're like, okay, should we start a DM campaign? Should we start a like stories campaign only? Are you, when you're experimenting, do you keep your control pretty tight, or are you kind of like, all right, let's try a new story one here, a new like reel one here, like reels here, feed here, etc. Like how wide or how not wide are you getting when you're like having to restart, if that makes sense? How many different types of campaigns like would you be throwing down, or ad sets?
So really quick, there's something I want to bring up beforehand. So this guy, just really quick before we move on to this, and please remind me if I forget and get back on track. But that guy, so I think last week it was where I shared the diagram of the 3 different cases, and I was saying, why is the cost per lead so high? There's one where there's a lot of market competition. There's one where there's like no leads. There's one, remember that, or were you not there?
Yeah.
So is his situation one of those where like he has a bunch of competitors in that area, or is it like really dry where there's just not a lot of people? Or like, what do you think the issue is?
He's getting the exact same amount of leads as our best performing leads were, right? Only for a fraction more. He's not spending a lot of money. So it's not that. I think that the quality of lead is a big issue for him. And it is, 90% Spanish speaking in El Paso, Texas. And it seems like he's like ex-military white dude, like I feel like he's having problems communicating with Hispanics, right? And that sucks, but that's not really my problem.
I see. So the issue is like he's getting about the same amount of leads. It's costing about the same. The issue is just he's in a location where the leads that he's getting are people that like he doesn't like. I can't sell to these people because I don't speak their language. I'm not like I don't even know how to work these people. That's what the issue is. Am I understanding
I
that
feel
correctly?
like that's a piece of it for sure.
But there's also that element. There's also the element of just like poor quality leads. Is it
And
is he just get is he getting poor quality leads objectively relative to other people, or is that like a subjective thing that he's telling you? Because if you're
it's a
running
little more subjective that he's telling me. We tried to do a week for him, and it was challenging. They were more challenging leads than other. We gave him like a free week of like handling calls. We sent like 2 to him, and I think he closed like 1. We probably went through like 10 calls total. Um, I mean, to me personally, my gut tells me that it's because his Facebook and shit looks so terrible. You know, it's like if I were like, I mean, everyone looks at your Facebook or Google or something, right? And like it just we gave him a new logo, dude. I mean, I popped out a new logo for him. You know, we cut like a little video. We've done a lot for this dude. It was just AI logo, but it still looks dope. And you know, like he's been hyped on that stuff, but it just I don't know, man. Like if I'm going to a website to buy something or like a Facebook page to buy something and I see what's on there, like I'm not sold, you know?
I feel like most people, when they see an ad, they're, I feel like sophisticated buyers, right? People that have like for example, they've purchased like 10 courses from coaches. They're gonna go through somebody's Facebook. They're gonna go through somebody's Instagram. They'll see what somebody's about. But the person that's buying his first course or the first coaching program has never like gone through a funnel and bought something. They don't
They
have
don't.
wisdom to go check all that stuff out. They're just gonna see the ad. If they really bought into the ad, they're gonna go click and they're gonna opt in and buy the thing. So I think I could be wrong here, but my opinion is that you're projecting the way you think and you're a higher level sophistication buyer versus the people that are opting into his stuff. I don't think most people do that. I think most people just like see the ad. If it's really good, they're gonna go and do things. Yes, there's things in terms of like Instagram and Facebook and also my brands and stuff, but for most people, if the ad is compelling good enough, they're gonna go and opt in. And so my suggestion, or not my suggestion, my theory is that if you're doing the exact same thing for him versus other people, and he's getting significantly worse results objectively, like the leads are not as good,
Mhm.
then to me it sounds like a combination of it's the location. It's the location in which maybe there's not higher quality traffic. Like for example, if you run ads in freaking Silicon Valley versus like bumfuck nowhere Arkansas, like the people are in Silicon Valley are going to be higher quality individuals. It just is what it is. They're going to be more intelligent, all that stuff. So is it a thing of like maybe that location, the people out there are just not as, high quality leads? One, two, they are Spanish speaking. Three, it's his mindset. And so to me, it sounds like all three of those. Can you do something where you actually exclude language? I think you might be able to. Don't quote me, but I think you might be able to. And so maybe that's something you test out. I That's something you might want to look into after this
Mhm.
if he decides to run some more ads. Um, so anyway, I just want to spend a little bit more time on that one, not to let's say save him, but like see what we can learn from that situation, right? What can we learn? What can you learn from that situation? Um, I don't know if there's anything there of value other than that. Questions, comments, concerns before we transition back to what we're talking about?
Adam, what do you think, man? You know the guy too.
I don't have anything else. I feel like um, no, I don't know. I think it's worth trying our best these last 17 days, but we shouldn't trip too hard at the end of it all if he wants to move on because there's plenty of groomers out there that are more qualified and have
And
better.
hungry and happy and fucking stoked to see us.
Other thing I'll say is this. This other last piece is super crucial, okay? When you said something about turning somebody around, okay? The reason we were able, so I have had, for me, nightmare clients, three people. And for all three of those people, it's like my stuff works. The free video commercial, the stuff works, everything works, but it's so fucking hard to get it to work. Versus your stuff is like fucking sell pet grooming shit, right? Like the leads, they come in, you have a conversation, you get into it. It's not fucking rocket science like what we're doing or what you're doing. You're doing is very difficult. Versus the leads that you generate for your pet groomers, it's not fucking rocket science to sell those lead people, right? But so those three people that I work with, it's the stuff works, but it's very difficult to get to work, and they don't have the best mindset. They have kind of like fucked up mindset, pessimistic mindset. That mindset he's been kicked, and like it's hard to be in a good mood when like a hammer has fell on your foot like 10 times, bro. We all know that, right? It's very hard. And so he's had a hammer fall on his foot like 10 times. That's what I'm guessing. That's what it sounds like. He's working from home. He's not making a bunch of money. He's had a bunch of shit probably happened to him. Like, I get that. I understand that. I'm empathetic from him. It doesn't excuse his behavior, but I'm empathetic.
Mhm.
And so to me, it kind of sounds, so here's what I want you to understand. This is really important. It goes back to this shit right here. The reason we were able to save her, Aman's case, is because his stuff was generating a massive ROI for her. The reason she yelled at him initially, I'll give you more context, is we were doing lead form ads just like you guys are. And then she was saying, oh, I want the leads directly to go to the website and book themselves. I don't want to have a conversation with them. I don't have an AI, none of the, exactly. And so she was like, just not the right mindset. She didn't understand how this shit works. And Aman was not the best at communicating back then. He didn't know how to explain to her, hey, look, this kind of ad and this kind of funnel, they're not ever going to go to a website and book on their own. You have to have a conversation. That's the way it works. It's just, I don't make the rules. Zuckerberg does. And
Right.
so after he explained that to her, she's like, finally coming out. She's like, whatever. And then she starts seeing the AI stuff work. And it was working in the meantime, right? It was working, like the lead forms, all that stuff. She just didn't like having a conversation because English is her first language, all that stuff. And so she's like, fuck it, I'll bite the bullet. Was doing the work. And guess what? It's generating results for her. And so it's because it actually fundamentally works. She's making a 2, 3, 5, 10x that it's like, fuck it, I want to work with this Aman guy. So I'm sharing this with you because it all goes back to this. You can't save a person like him. The other thing is to understand is like, if your stuff is not getting him an ROI, even if he changes his attitude, you can't keep him around.
Yeah.
That's the other piece I would share with you. And so it goes back to just, hey, get people great results. When you get people great results, even if they have a bad attitude, you know what I mean? Like, you can save them,
Mhm.
but you can't save somebody if your shit doesn't work. And not that your stuff doesn't work. I'm just saying make it has to be significantly better for especially people like him, especially for people. What's brewing in your head?
Yeah, just thinking about big picture, like what can we be doing to make this work better across the board, right? Like it would be great to like have something that, the 30 leads in 30 days is really hard. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact of the matter is that like for some of them, like for these mobile nail trim ones, that's not even their ROI 1x 30 leads, right? Some of them it is like if we're doing in store, that would average about $3,000. So they'd be doing a 2x at that point. So I don't know. I'm just thinking whole picture. I've been thinking a lot more about like ad creatives and copy and how everything lives together and like the frequency at which we should be changing these things when they're not working. And I feel like we've probably sat on things like way too long and burned a shit ton of money. We probably should have killed stuff earlier and started things again newer. Like we should have been putting newer content on all these people's and I don't know. I mean, I do think a last ditch effort with some new content, which we have for this dude, is my best bet, right? Just like hit him with some new content, see if one of the ads crushes. Um,
If you
you know,
create content and stuff, let's say what's your cost per lead right now on average?
for actual pet groomers or for our leads,
Pet groomers, like
um,
your
like
clients.
30 to 36, something like that. Maybe it's gone down as low as like 15, it's gone as high as like 40. So probably like 30 to 36 bucks.
Lead per lead.
Correct.
That's actually pretty high.
Let me see.
Um,
Per lead.
yeah, per lead. Like, how much are you spending per lead? Or not, is that per acquisition or per lead?
No, that's not per acquisition. I wish it was per acquisition. Pull up our ads manager 1 second. I might be a little off on my. I think we were lower before. I know, but I know it went back up, and our personal funnel definitely needs a lot of work too. Like we pump the brakes a little bit just to like we drop the money down a little bit just to like get ahead of ourselves, because when we had 5, going on 6, it was like a little bit too intense. Let me look.
Adam, you might want to make a note of this as Tony's looking for this, but both of you guys should totally reach out to Aman. And I wish he was here right now, but like ask him like what his average cost per lead is for his clients. And I wish you could have asked you could have asked Mason as well, because both of those people actually Mason, I mean he's ran lead form ads, but who does lead forms? You can message Jorge, you can message Aman. Yeah, those are good guys that you can message. There's some other people that do lead form ads, but like message them. Oh, you can message Daniel Riviera as well. So Aman, Daniel Riviera, who did I mention? Mason.
So we're over a month, we've averaged $17 for one and $19 for the other. So that's lower than I thought it was. It feels like more. But yeah, so that's for our own personal funnel that gets pet groomers. On good like pet grooming, like lead forms, right? Because we're running obviously like a funnel for our pet grooming clients, to get the pet grooming owners, but for everyone else, it's just a lead form.
Yeah.
And
so what does that cost? The lead form cost? What is that?
right. So lead form costs like average probably like $7 to $8.
Okay.
Okay. Bad ones are like those are the red flags. Like some of them get up to 20 and 21. And that's when we're trying to like regroup and figure out, okay, what do we do? Duplicate, okay, new creative, new copy, etc.
Okay, exactly. Okay, so I was getting a little bit scared there. You're fine. I thought you meant you're $30 on your lead form leads.
No.
Okay, good. So yeah, if you're spending like $7, and the reason I say that's fine is because that's what like I'm spending. I'm gonna spend like $5, $10, $15 on a lead, and that's fine through a lead form. And so you're within KPI on average. Like that's what I see all the time. And the point I'm trying to make here is like, let's say you're getting $10 leads. Changing the creative, man, is gonna take you from like 10 to like 7. It's gonna take you from like 10 to 5. But let's say you're trying to figure out how to get your client 10x return on ad spend, right? And let's say you just focus there, because you can focus on the front end or you can focus on the back end. Okay, you're focused on the front end entirely. The front end is the ad. So if you go from a $10 lead cost, right, $10, $7, $15, right? That's where you're at. And what I'm trying to explain to you is like you're gonna go from $10 to like $7 realistically. And you're shaking, you're nodding your head. Hopefully you've seen that. So for you to do a 10x, if you're flighting on the front end, just to set things into relative terms so that it really hits you guys, instead of going from $10 to $7, what you must do is you must go from $10 to 10 cents. Does that make sense? Because if you go from $10 to 10 cents, now your return on ad spend becomes a 10x, because you're taking this and you're dropping by tenfold. So the question becomes, is it even possible to do that? It's not even possible to do that. It is not possible to go from $15 to 15 cents. $10 to 10 cents. It is not possible. So you're fighting this battle because you have to be thinking, how do I get my client to like a 10x? It's impossible to do it here. So like, why spend all this time and energy doing something that's impossible to do? It's like I'm trying to throw his pencil up in the air and keep it up in the air and make it levitate. No, nobody can do that. Jesus can part the sea, but that's as good as it gets. Right? And so if you can't fight here, you got to fight here where actually you have power, which is the challenging thing. This is the hard thing to do. So this is all about, I cannot take my cost per lead from $15 to 15 cents, but can I take my client from making $500 to $5,000 in a month? Yes. It's challenging as fuck, but it's actually possible to do this. This is not even possible to do. And so that's what I'm trying to get across to you. All the stuff that you're doing, it makes minimal difference. 3%, 5%, 10%. You have 10,000% to go. 1,000% to go. So it can only be done here. So that's what I'm saying here, and that's what I'm saying in the messages. It has to be, you have to focus here. You can mess around with the creatives, you can do small little stuff, but it's not going to make a big difference in the big scheme of things.
So we need to be focusing more on selling memberships and figuring out return costs and how to get people back in and things like that.
When I built this low ticket funnel, man, like I don't know if I ever told you, people buy the low ticket thing, and then from there, I tried a few things. I tried to do a phone call to a sales call. I tried to do like a phone call to like these training sessions, and then from there, high ticket. I tried to text. I tried to DM. I tried all these different things to figure out how to get people here. And I figured out the magic sauce is the DM to here. But I tried this, I tried this, I tried this. This wasn't fun. It took me a year to test all this stuff out. And so that's what you got to figure out. It's like you got to test stuff. I don't know, man. You got to test stuff. You got to go from the lead form and call them and get him in, and somehow do some membership or something. And here's and this is not permission to give up. This is not permission to not bust your butt. But this is why some niches, people just don't go into them. This problem that you're having right now, this is why. It's because no matter what they do, they can't help the client make more money. This is true, especially in restaurants. Restaurants already have like a 3 to 5% margin, right? You're not gonna help someone make a 10x there. So I'm not saying it's not possible. I truly believe it is possible. It just has to be figured out. So it's not about like, I don't think it's right now, I don't think it's about like doing different campaign types. And when I say campaign types, I'm talking about like lead form versus like engagement versus like, that's what I mean. Like a DM ad versus a lead form ad versus an ad that goes into a funnel, right? Those are three. Ad that goes into a funnel, ad that is a PM ad that's the one you guys have a lead form. I don't think changing that stuff up is the solution right now. I think it's when you have a conversation with them, and then I think when they come into the store, I think some kind of magic has to happen there.
Like us following up after they go to the store and be like, hey, that was a great experience. What I can do is offer you another completely free one if you want to jump on a membership.
I don't know. I have no clue.
I mean, just at a hypothetical speaking, though. I mean, like,
yeah.
not that that's the answer.
I don't even think it's that though. But yes, but not that. Like I feel very strongly that it's not going to be after. I feel relatively strong that the sale is going to be at the store.
And we're coaching our clients to, I mean, that's how the bigger one has it set up, right? They do like that exact thing. And we even talked about how membership upfront sales generally don't work. It usually has to start with a smaller sale. And he was already like completely on board. He understood. I don't think that like everyone in his staff is educated enough to like sell the membership. So I feel like we need to kind of get the ins and outs of what that is and then also create them. I mean, I think our biggest wins are going to be creating the memberships for people that don't have them already, right? And that seems totally doable for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be something like that. It's something that's going to have to happen at the establishment. It's what we do, right? This is what I think Kyle was talking about. What I was talking about, Kyle, was like, there's some kind of a bait and switch. There's kind of a free thing that leads to paid thing. There's some kind of bait. There's something you don't see coming. Like they can't see this shit come from a mile away. That's what it's got to be. And I don't know what that is for dog groomers.
And we're close. I mean, there's the people that are trying and like have an actual business, right? Legitimate business, are bringing back, close to at least 1x with the system that we have right now. And then some are bringing in like 1.5x. So I know that's not like great news, but it's also like this could work, right? In this way, especially if we're getting that on the front end and then able to get something on the back end, right? That seems very sustainable.
The way that I heard it is like all these rules about YouTube and uploading schedules, like talking head clips on my IG, and then they'll click on that video and it's an hour and
I don't know why I'm trying to click. I'm trying to find, literally he talked about like
written 40 years ago. And we walk through all of it.
he literally talked about like, okay, if I can get my ad and funnel to work at a 1.5x or a 0.9x, I'm happy. Then what we do is we focus on the back end. Literally what you're talking about right now.
Sick.
How to-
All right, Tanner, what's up?
So
I
this is a
listen. He's pretty sick.
really good video. Yeah, I love his stuff. His stuff is so good. This is a really good video. But yeah, like if you're at a 1x, a 1.5x on the front end, like that is healthy, man. Now you just got to figure out just that small little bit in the back end, man.
Yep. Cool. All right. Nice. Yeah, and I mean this whole like big picture shit is like really hard to envision for this one dude, right? Because of his scenario and like who's gonna get a membership to a dude's house, right? Probably not too many people. But still probably worth the exercise to try to make his ads work better and see if I can flip his attitude. Even if we don't move forward, I think it's still probably good practice.
Have fun with it. I should never like I said, say things that like people give people the permission to, and I don't think I have to walk on eggshells with you guys. And so that's just my thing is just like, just try, have fun with it, but try. But I'm on the same page as you. In my heart of hearts, like I don't see this going anywhere with him either. So I respect and empathize with you guys as well.
Appreciate
Word.
that.
What was that?
I just said appreciate that. I've been thinking about punch cards recently for dog groomers. Like, you know, coffee shops or like gyms or like any restaurants have like a little punch card. It's your first time there. They give you a card, and after 10 visits, they can get maybe like a free bath or something.
Yeah.
Free grooming.
That's not bad as a starting point, but it's not going to get you the 10x.
Yeah, for sure.
That if anything, that like, yeah,
That might help with return though, right? With return clients. Yeah.
that's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 5%. Maybe if somebody stays with somebody for a lifetime, like 10, 15%. It's the thing of like, hey, get somebody in for $50, and then they hop in and you tell them, hey, look, we have this membership, it's $1,000, but if you get on us now, we'll do is we'll market for like $500 for you.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get this bonus, that bonus, this bonus, that bonus also. We got 3 spots available. Do you want it? Also, or fuck, shit. Okay, I don't know how good this would be. One thing that okay, I don't know. Yeah. Rich back in the day, his offer that just absolutely crushed was get tattooed now, pay later.
Ooh.
I don't remember that. Get tattooed now, pay later, absolutely crushed. And everybody's like, what do you mean? Like everybody wants it. It's like, fuck yeah, I want to get tattooed now and pay later. And then they opt in for the thing, and then he calls them and has a conversation. Say, hey, look, the way it works is we use Afterpay. You don't have to cover a single dime. Once you come inside the establishment, we're gonna get you approved for it, and then you'll use that and apply that. And it's just 4 non-interest payments. You cover that, and then you're good to go. You have a year to pay it off. So you get basically a tattoo. So basically, they're in the business of fucking selling credit cards, right? If you really think about it, that's what they're doing. So I say that because I don't know, sleep on that, take a moment to sleep on that. Is there something you can do when they hop inside, say, hey, look, we have this offer, get groomed for life, pay later. And then you provide some kind of financing or something like that. I don't know, get groomed now, or like, what is a thing that people would want that is very expensive, but they really love their pets and they would pay high ticket for it? I don't know what that thing is. Something to sleep on as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Something to sleep on.
Yeah.
What else is brewing your guys' heads?
What else we got going on?
We closed a new client today, which is cool, and she's our first North Carolina client, which is exciting.
Oh, nice.
So
The one
we can
that
actually
failed 6 times. The payment.
Oh
that
shit,
kept
yeah,
failing
dude,
over
that's
and
a
over
win
again.
right there. Talk about a flip, bud. I got the girl whose payment failed and she was on the phone with the bank and everything. She's been talking to me this whole time. Like she's been like, hey, can we do this call? And she pushed it off. I'm like, fine. And I finally told her, I was like, listen, I'm gonna give you the whole sales call that I should have given you in the first place. And I don't want a transaction at the very end. I literally want you to sleep on it and let me know if it's right for you the next day. And she's like, cool, that sounds perfect. So we got through the sales call today, and I was like, I don't want a transaction. Like, let's just think about this tomorrow. She's like, I'm ready to buy now if that's okay. It's like, okay, cool. So, and the fucked up part is that once again, like Stripe screwed up one way or the other with her card. So she ended up selling me the money because it went through 3 different transactions. And I'm like, this can't be fucking happening right now. And sure enough, like she trusts me enough to do that, which is dope. So I'm excited because we actually get to get someone like Natalie, our creative editor. She lives half the time in like Charlotte, which is like an hour from this person, and half the time with us in Wilmington, which is like 4 hours away. So she's just gonna swing by with like a gimbal on her phone and do some fun like UGC stuff and like crush that and edit it. And we're gonna have like some content that we actually created for a pet groomer, which is sweet. And yeah, I mean, she's got a more robust like list. She's still like lower end independent, but she gets a lot of like organic traffic. She's like ranked #1 in her town, which isn't a small town, which is great. She's done a lot of work, so I'm excited for her for sure.
Nice. Good stuff. What was the issue? Do you know? Like at the core of the core of the core. Like
With the
was it that she didn't trust something fishy was going on? Is that what was ultimately the issue? Or was there even an issue?
There was no issue, dude. It was literally just the payment. I mean, she tried 3 times with me on the phone, the very first sales call. And she's like, I don't know, something's weird. And then she got on the phone with the bank. And I literally sat on the damn sales call for like an hour while she was on the phone with the bank. She's like, the bank says they don't know what's going on. And I was like, shit. If that's true, then I need to figure out what's happening with GHL. And sure enough, I like filed a complaint and they're like, yeah, all of our Stripe systems are down right now. We're figuring it out. I was like, cool. Well, you might have just lost me $4,500. But luckily that wasn't the case. She was still down to come back to us. The second time around, it was saying she had a bad expiry date, but it was within the right, time frame and everything, or maybe zip code, I think it was. Yeah, the zip code. And she triple checked and showed me your bank and everything, and it was the same zip code. I'm like, something's up with your bank with this system or something. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for that. And if this dude's out, then it'd be nice to replace with somebody who's hungry, because I feel like he might be hungry, but he's not, his hunger is not like in the right place. You know what I mean? People can be hungry for like something they don't know what they want, but she's like driven. She understands. She's already dropping money in Google, getting like good SEO there for sure, I think, or at least paying for the SEO, because she's ranking really high. So I have hope for her. And we have, another client now that we've had the luxury of signing on a couple of weeks ago. That's just for like her first month is literally just us like building her Facebook and Instagram and Google My Business. It's like a cakewalk. So we're like actually profiting all that money. And then we get to like start with her from scratch, which is cool. So that's a really good experience too.
Yeah, so I guess I'm sure the takeaway, one of the takeaways there is for you guys just to have this as a plan of action in case there's a payment issue in the future, right? Stripe, Zelle, as a backup. Also, I just thought about this. Have you guys thought about like just having conversations with the clients that you have, the business owners that you have, and picking their brain and be like, hey, what is the most that somebody has ever spent with you and why? What are your thoughts on like having maybe just conversation? Again, I know that you own a dog and you know a lot of stuff, just like being an owner of a dog, but like, do you think there could be something you could learn by having conversation with them and just like poking their brain and say, hey, like, what is the most expensive thing you've ever seen somebody buy? Or like your top 10% of clients that have spent the most money with you, what have they bought? Have they bought something that's like a high ticket thing? What are those high ticket things? How did you get them to buy? Why did they want to buy? What was the pain point that they're solving for? What you can just like keep digging and digging until you can find something.
Sure.
It's a good idea.
I'm
Something we
starting
can go through at the beginning too, like at the onboarding stage with every new client, just have like that list of questions and just get like a wide range of answers.
For me, it's like I would be doing this for you guys. Like if I were in your shoes, I would be doing this to help me develop that lifetime value thing. Like that's all it is. Like to help me brainstorm. Like literally right now, I'll show you. Like this is what I'm doing with Aman. this. So Aman's got like a tremendous amount of experience with e-commerce. I had no fucking clue. He like works for an employer and he does like pretty much everything. They made like 15 million like last year. Like it's crazy. Um, and so I'm like, okay, well, ask your employer these questions. This way, me and you can find out the offer. You know, what were you stuck at? What were each of the bottlenecks you were stuck at? Define what happened in terms of revenue, expenses, profit, time, energy. How did you get unstuck and move to the next level? Repeat this over and over until you got to your current level. This can tell us XYZ. You know, what course advisors, mentors hired you, right? Again, I'm gonna ask his employers a bunch of questions so that we can kind of figure out, okay, what can we help our ideal avatar with, which is going to be basically like his employer in the
Mhm.
future. So, and so yeah, that's what he's doing. He's gonna find some time to interview those people, and we're gonna try to learn from that. So that's what, you know, that's something I would definitely be doing if I were you. Instead of like
Okay.
trying to concoct and figure out, get groomed now, pay later, like learn from other people, and then let's all come together and brainstorm trying to figure something out together.
Mhm. Yeah, it's been really helpful to like take these calls, right? I've closed like 17 for pet, you know, our big guy. So which is solid. It's like 17 and 20 days is where we're at now. And I need to get it 30 and 30. I know that. And we're, you know, we're doing our best to like make that happen. But I can see pretty clearly like I mean on the like very superficial scale, bigger dogs with upsells are the highest ticket, right? So a larger dog that has long hair, that we can get like nail trimming, nail filing, teeth brushing, just keep adding shit on. They're like, yeah, until it goes up to like $300, and you're like, sweet, have a great day. The other thing that this person actually brought up today, she's Brazilian. And she was like, you know, like most of my Brazilian clients come like once a week or once every 2 weeks. They're absolutely insane. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, they're really concerned about like their look first and then their dog's look second. So, I mean, it's not like I want to just be like, oh, we're going to market to Brazilians in your area, but like it is a thought that popped into my head. Like, how do we capitalize on that? And maybe have like a frequent flyer card that's like she straight like does her ad in Portuguese. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, that's good though. I mean, it's good to know. And that's one thing that I kind of regret now that there's a couple people that are kind of like trickling off is not like squeezing their juice as much as I should have. And, you know, another big fuck up was not getting our testimonials fast enough. We did get a testimonial from our homie, but it's just like I said, like he got our name wrong. Like we'd have to use some AI to like make it work. Um, and then I don't know. I think that like we're due for one testimonial next week from this person who's about to close their 15th lead, which is pretty sweet. So I think she did like 15 leads in 20 days. Which I don't know. I think I might need to figure out a way to reword that because that's not, we should be doing 15 leads in 15 days, you know, if we're adhering to what we offer and guarantee. So
Few
I don't know.
things. Because that was a lot. So the Brazilian stuff, there's actually an agency owner that runs ads that says, "Hey, dentist, if you want Hispanic customers, click on." That's their entire angle, dude. Have you ever seen their stuff? I don't know. As you're
I
nodding your
remember
head,
you talking about it a couple weeks
that's
ago.
it. Until it's been years, I've seen their shit. That's all they do. They're not trying to find Invisalign this, that. It's like, hey, we're gonna find Hispanic people for you. So 100% agree. If that's something that like, if these are people that spend more money, like for sure, like that's just like a stereotype and it's true. Like lean into that shit, man, for sure. I'm not even joking, for sure.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah.
the second thing was okay. The 15, I was thinking about this earlier. I didn't know if it was the right time to mention it or not. I'll mention it now. It there's different ways to skin this cat, but like let's just say you hop in, somebody gets 30 leads, 30 days or whatever, right? And then you hop on the onboarding call and you say, hey, look, Mr. Business Owner, I know that we promised you 30 leads in 30 days. My question to you is what is most important to you right now, volume or is it profitability? They're always gonna say profitability. It's like, okay, so here's what we can do is we can decrease the number of leads instead of going for 30, we can go to like 10 or 15. And then what we can do is we can focus all of our time and energy on taking those people and upselling them on the back end. And now they're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then guess what? Now you don't have to deliver on that, if that makes sense. That's a way you can that bait and switch where you set different expectations. So I wouldn't be stressing about that kind of stuff if I were you. It just depends on how you do the onboarding and psychologically prime them. I'm not saying it is like the ethical thing to do. I'm just saying that there's workarounds for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And like you said before, I mean, like when you bring 25 and people see, I mean, when you bring 20, people are usually hyped enough. Like this dude, we maybe got like half of what we told him we would, but he saw the system and he was like, this is great. Let's keep going, you know? And that's kind of what we want. It's like, and they've also like see that down the road, two or three of those people that we closed are already booking one and two more, right, on the back end. Um, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. We are gonna have to do we're gonna have to figure that out over the next like little bit. Like if we change our offer, you know, once we get enough of those under our belt, like what does the new offer look like?
Yeah. So yeah, don't stress about that. You guys are fine. And you, like you said, you know how to work these people, you know how to have a conversation with them, keep them happy and all that stuff. So I don't think that's a huge issue. What else is brewing in that noggin of yours?
Too much to talk about tonight, man, but I feel pretty good. I mean, it's it's going well, you know. I'm now like kind of more focused on just figuring out how to stay on top of our ads more to make sure that like they're performing well, and when they're not, like I think I just need to get better. We need to get better at like
Also,
identifying ads that aren't working and
also
then like killing them.
before I sound like doom and gloom, I should do this as well. This is on me for not saying this earlier. I am operating under the assumption that you're getting a 0.5x return ad spend to a point to like a one, right? Right? Like you spend $1,000 and you make them $1,000. You spend $1,000, you make them 500 to 750 bucks or whatever, right? That's what I'm operating. That's what you're telling me. But also, we have to consider LTV. So if you're spending $1,000 and that $1,000 turns into $10,000 over the course of a year, well, then technically you've hit your 10x, and so you are actually healthy and fine. So I do want to mention that to you as well. So we could be freaking out for no reason. I thought that was I share that with you. Does that make
Yeah, I
sense?
mean, I think we're seeing like 2 out of the 10 that we do close come back for at least one more, if not two more appointments. So that's another, you know, 200, 400, $500 off of those other clients. So ultimately, you
So
know,
you
a couple are close to evening out at 1 to 1. A
so
couple are probably like a 0.7 to 1.
so 10 people come in, and to have these 10 people come in, how much do you spend on average and how much do they make on the front end?
Um,
10 people to come in. What are your
so on like right now, 10 cost about like $400.
okay? And then they spend about how much?
I mean, that's $400 ad spend, right? That's not, you know, that doesn't include our fee.
Right.
But the average ticket is going to be about $75 for this particular one I'm referencing. So that's yeah.
So 750. So you spend 400, you make them 750, and then what you're telling me is that what we can do is we can take that 750 and turn that into approximately how much if two more people are buying?
75 times 2, 150, 300.
So basically about 1,000. Is that what you're saying? So
Net, yeah,
we're turning at that $400 into 1,000.
of ad spend, but there's still our fee, right? So that 400 should really, in my mind, at least, unless you correct me, let's say, or yeah, because
So
that's what the client is seeing, right?
yeah. So the client is saying you're basically spending 400 and you're turning that into about $1,000. Yeah. So this $1,000 bare minimum should be costing $250 because your cost per acquisition should be 25% of LTV. So right now you're spending $400 to make 1,000. You should be spending up to $250 to make 1,000, or ideally, a 10x would be what? I don't know what a 10x is. $100?
2,500?
100 times 10. 100 times 10 is 1,000. Is that right?
Yep. Last time I checked.
Yeah. So this would be ideal.
Yeah.
So you're spending 400 bucks to make $1,000. It has to be at least 250 to be okay. In an ideal world, 100. Now you cannot do this, so the reality is that this will never happen, right? I mean, I highly doubt you're going to be able to get it down to 100. You're already at 400. It's not going to go down. So the reality is that instead of this $400 turning into 1,000, we want to turn it into 4,000. That's the goal. You want to turn the $400 right now. You're turning $400 into 1,000. We need to pump out an additional 3 grand. Or like that's ideal. Bare minimum is going to be 1,600, like you said. Right? Because it's 25%. So 400 bucks is 25% of 1,600 bucks. This is base. So you might want to watch this part back of the video. That's with my North Star. That's if I'm you. Every $400 that you spend, 1,600 bare minimum, ideally 4 grand. Try to figure that out.
Including our, is that ad spend or is that 4 grand or 1,600 including our fee?
I'm just including, I'm not including your service fee right now. If you do this, then your service fee is going to be covered.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If you can spend $400, turn that into $1,600 for your client like clockwork, then your service fee is going to be completely fine. You can take this $400, you can increase it to $800, you can make it $1,600, right? You can get the client to spend more money. That's not an issue, right? If you spend $400 and turn that to 1,600 bucks, like, yo, client, how much money do you want to spend? How much market share do you want to capture? And then your fee is more than covered. But this is the North Star. That's my way of really simplifying things for you. You're at 400, getting to 1,000. You need to squeeze out another 600 bare minimum, ideally 4K.
Cool.
How many dogs do you have? One?
Just one. He's getting big as shit too.
How long have you had him?
He's only 9 months old, but he's a big boy. He's almost 60 pounds. He's our mascot, dude. I like look at him like he's sold a shit ton of our stuff for us. You know what I mean? Like he's in most of the videos. Like he's been on sales calls with me. I'm like, yes, I'm a dog owner. This is me from the video. That's my dog. Like he accidentally comes into frame a lot. It's kind of awesome.
He's your wingman.
He is.
That's cool. That was a lot, man. We went over a lot today. Questions, comments, concerns, guys? Thoughts?
Super helpful. Thank you.
Anything else you guys want to chat about?
I mean, there's a bunch for sure. We could go till midnight, but I think this has been helpful. It's good it'll carry us through the rest of this week for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Welcome. If we look at those numbers, I mean, you're saying 10 people come in, 2 people re-sign. That goes from 700 to 1,000, 8, 9, 10. I mean, that means that you got to figure out another option. You figure out how to get 2 more people to keep coming in.
Cool.
That's another way you can think about it, right? So,
Cool.
Cool. All right, guys. Questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot us a message. Aside from that, we'll see you guys here next week.
Sweet.
on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Talk to you soon. See you guys.